And we're off. What's going on out there, guys? Got a great one lined up for you today, as far as you know. As usual, if you'd like to support this channel, there are PayPal and Patreon links in the info box below. You know, it's a hell of a thing when you hit the live button, like go live, and you got absolutely nothing. It's a rush, man. I'm telling you, it's a rush. Let's see if boop boop be doop Betty has anything out there in Discord land. How's it going, Betty?
How's it going?
Yeah, that's right. How's it friggin' going?
It's okay. I like to see you in a contentless form today.
Substanceless.
Substanceless. Negligible.
Yeah, the curve's negligent, and we're negligible. What else we got going on out there? Is there anybody with you? Is it just you and me?
Yeah, I brought Adam. All of a sudden he came in.
Did he? How's it going, Adam?
I got nothing. Don't look at me.
Nothing.
Good evening.
We all got nothing.
Aren't we?
I'm still waiting for me tea. You see, so I'm low on energy.
All right. What's for tea? Speaking of tea, I got a little hungry before the show. About 45 minutes before the show, I said, I got to get something to eat. I usually don't do that. So I went and there's some.
Eat during the show.
Well, there's Joyce, a pineapple. Just put a cork in it for a second, buddy. There's a pineapple. I opened up the fridge. Now there's some pineapple in there, and there's some sliced up kiwi and strawberries. And I said, I haven't had any strawberries for a while. Let me take a few. Put a few in the bowl, big ones. Got back here, bit into one. I said, this is absolutely tasteless.
Strawberries tasteless?
Yeah, it's tasteless. Winter strawberries, right?
Yeah, you can't do that.
No, I shouldn't have done that. And I chewed them all up, and then I got a little sour stomach. I said, you saw it right before the show, too.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. Well, they grow them now on a higher levels, just on water, I think. They are not even firm in the ground anymore.
I think they painted these, man.
Maybe some little gnomes paint them in the afternoons.
I'm telling you, they painted them with some artificial coloring or something. I said, give me a break, man.
I remember a couple of years back, my mom and I ate some strawberries on some slices of bread, and we both had the same nasty feeling after. It was not an aftertaste. It was like my mouth was like, how do you say, numbed in a way.
Oh,
There was something on these strawberries. Maybe some whatever. We always washed them beforehand, but there's something on them that made us our like. Inside your gums, like little like numb.
So strawberry sandwich. I want to go back to the strawberry sandwich for a second. What the hell are you thinking?
We put strawberries on a sandwich, just on a piece of slice of bread, and some sugar on top, and then we eat them.
That's what I was going to ask. Do you sprinkle a white crystalline powder on the top, and then wonder why your gums went numb?
No,
that'll be your mum's Coke stash. She mixed it up.
Yeah, you mistake the Coke stash for sugar.
Oh, you think that the Dutch are also like narcotic?
Narcotic?
No, just your mum.
No, just your mum.
Oh no. And
How
also,
old were you when you shared cocaine with your mum?
I have no idea. I forgot all about it. No, it's just sugar. It's not even the grinded sugar. Just sugar, right? And also, you said pineapple, right? I hated pineapple because it came out of cans usually on these cakes, and they put pineapple on it, and I would think, ugh, nasty. And then I ate the fresh pineapples, and I liked it a lot, And then after a while, now I can't handle it anymore. It makes my mouth and the inside numb. And almost like allergic. That if I take it more, then I might not be able to breathe in the next couple of minutes.
If there's any food that just screams, you're going to have an allergic reaction to this. If you look at a pineapple, I don't see how you can't see it that way. Right? It's screaming. Go ahead and try this. Right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm not. My son has a little bit with, like, to get back to the subject though. There is no comparison between canned pineapple and fresh pineapple.
Oh,
No
yeah.
comparison whatsoever.
Yeah. I don't know what they do when they can it, because it makes the fibers so hard and sticky and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
The texture is totally different from a
Yeah.
fresh pineapple.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and the taste too. I got one. I should have went with the pineapple because that my wife already told me. She said it's sweet like candy. I said, you dug into that when you were cutting it up, didn't you? And she said, yeah. Yeah. So I made a mistake. Listen, I fucked up.
Well, you do that a lot lately.
Not usually. Every once in a while, you get to pay the price.
More and more.
More and more.
Yeah, more and more.
How so?
I hear you telling us about mistakes that you made more and more on the show. Might be because you don't have any content anymore, so that you start talking about your mistakes.
Nah, it's Be Kind to Dumb Animal Month, and I just want to make you feel better about yourselves.
Month? No. Don't tell that to AI; it will correct you.
That's
It will
one.
correct you, and you will not hear the end of it.
That's one thing we didn't do again. We just haven't had the time to get into that. But I would like to go back and ask some more questions. Most definitely.
You know that I tried during the day to help me out with something, and it said, "Well, wait, because we have too much contenders already in, and I need to go and at a later junction." It said, I think.
Really?
Is that a word? Junction? Yeah.
At a later junction? No, that doesn't work.
A later time.
A later
several-
time works, but the junction,
time.
junction and time are no. That's a place. The junctions.
The junctions. What is it? A junction? Isn't that a something in traffic? Like a place where it's very busy,
No,
coming from multiple directions?
I don't think so. It's like
What is it?
it's like a fork in the road. A junction is where something's coming in to meet something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I tried to meet AI, and he says that I need to find another meeting place. Apparently.
Ask him to define junction.
I can't, because he told me off.
He told me off.
Something like get a job.
So somebody look up junction. That's what I think it is. Junction is just where two or more things meet, right?
There is a junction. Yeah, okay, I see it now in Dutch. It's a knooppunt, we call it. Right? It's a place where things are getting together and is sort of held up by that.
What?
I have no idea what I'm saying.
No. Cool. What's
Hey,
that?
Betty.
Oh no, here we go. What's that one song with the conjunction? What? How's that go? Confunction junction.
Junction. What's your function?
Yeah.
Working out phrases and clauses and other things.
Jeez, I didn't know it was going to be a Broadway play.
Hey, what about the other one? I'm just a Bill, a lonely old Bill, and I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill. They all were Saturday morning shit. I remember that.
I don't remember that.
Huh.
Yeah, Saturday morning. They had the whole cartoons showing you how a bill is passed and what a conjunction is and all of that.
A conjunction doesn't have anything to do with a bill.
No, they had all types of little educational things. That was a different one.
When did you watch cartoons?
This had to be 76, 77, 75,
No
maybe?
way.
Yeah.
What channel?
Hell, I know. Whatever the main channels was. PBS, NBC, or ABC.
There were
That's
only
when
three.
Saturday morning. Yeah, Saturday morning. there was a cartoon day. You know that on
Yeah.
Saturdays it was cartoons, and they would slip them in there.
We had
Yeah.
NBC, ABC, CBS, and one other one. That was the cartoon place. What the heck was that?
Oh, I didn't have no cartoons. You talking about Nickelodeon?
No. This was well before Nickelodeon.
You had a cartoon channel?
Yeah,
Shit,
it was
we
like
had
a-
CBS.
It was like a cartoon. It wasn't specifically cartoons, but it was that sort of entertainment type of network. I can't remember what it was. It's just too long ago.
Hey, do you remember the 4:30 movie?
Poor-
That's going back. The 4:30 movie was on ABC every afternoon, or after school specials and shit like that.
I remember Jim West.
Who's Jim West?
Jim West, Wild Wild West.
Oh yeah, that was my favorite show as a kid. He used to get out of every problem. That guy.
Yep.
There wasn't a problem he couldn't get out of.
Yeah, him and Artemis.
MacGyver.
That and the channel that used to play Hogan's Heroes, that type of thing.
You're talking about PIX.
No, it wasn't
Channel
that.
11 by me.
Doesn't matter anyway. I think it was where I was at. It was channel 53. That's all I can remember. Too far back there. Okay, that's all we got today, folks. And with that,
Well,
No, you guys say perfect.
when I say whoa, I mean whoa.
yep, there's nothing else happening. It's the calm before the storm, because we're fixing to get 8-10 inches of snow this evening and into tomorrow. So
Oh, you might not have a connection soon.
I don't know. I don't think that's gonna harm the connection unless somebody.
Oh, yeah. A lot of snow will do anything on cables.
Nah, not
Wow.
usually. No, it's usually wind, lightning. Now
Down there in USA.
it's usually wind or lightning, like I was saying, or the worst. The worst is somebody skids off the road and whacks a pole.
Well, depends on how many people go to the streets.
Yeah, the people down here in the South. I was just telling somebody about this. Who was I talking to? Oh, my daughter. Because I warned her. I said she doesn't live all that close. So we were talking last night. I said, be really careful. Tomorrow night, she works tomorrow night, or tonight. Yesterday, I told her about tonight. She works tonight. I said, be real careful on your way home. I said, the big winter storm coming. And I said, I'm not too much worried about you. I'm more worried about other people. It seems like people in the southern parts of the United States, I'm just generalizing, they don't adjust their driving to actual hazards like snow and ice.
You got that right. They don't know how.
Yeah, they don't do it. So you have to be, your defensive driving skills, you got to go on friggin' red alert whenever you're out there, man. So I told her, don't get on the highways. Just don't do it, especially around here. I call them, they're truck highways. They don't play, and they don't change their driving. They keep the same speed no matter what. That's why we got a bunch of traffic jams and friggin' jackknife trailers everywhere. But I'm talking about, and she lives she's in the city, quote unquote. So yeah, just people don't adjust their driving skills and look the heck, or don't adjust their driving habits, not their skills, which most don't have any, right?
Well, here's the thing. If you're doing 30 miles an hour when it's snowing, you really should cut it down to maybe 15.
Yeah, that's really good, Neil. Cut it in half. Yep, do everything in halves. And don't slam on the brakes. A lot of people, too, this would be, what I'm going to do tomorrow is I'm going to take my son out. We haven't done this, and we're going to do a little winter driving. Maybe find a place where it's, there's not too many obstacles around, like a big old parking lot. that's how you get your driving skills up, right? You have
I don't know.
what?
I don't know, Kiwi. Let me give you a quick story. I took my wife before and my daughter. This is years ago. I took them driving, so I took them to an open school lot. No school was out, but school was out. There was no school, but they had snow drifts up for a plow, but the roads were clear.
Right.
So my daughter drove. She did well, came back, and it was my wife's turn. So I tell her, okay, go straight. I told them about the gas. Put the gas. Here's the brake. Anything you hit the brake. What I forgot to do was tell her how to turn. So I said, okay, make a right here. So she makes a right, and she kept making a right. I said, turn it back. Right into a mountain of snow. Boom.
Yeah.
I forgot to tell her, just let the wheel go and it'll just come back automatically. But she just kept turning right into the snow. Oh, my God.
Yeah, that's too. I could see that happening. That's yeah. But you just take them out there. I wouldn't tell them what to do instead of just do a bunch of different things and get a feel for it, right?
I think that's the thing to do, yeah, if you have the space.
Yes. Yep.
We don't have the space here in Holland.
You don't have parking lots?
Not there's people parked there. Duh.
What do you mean?
Right?
Duh. It's a
Well,
parking
because
lot.
you might have these oceans of free space ahead of you in parking lots and that sort of stuff. But here it's crowded.
Right.
Every place you turn and go, there's someone there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Stuttering,
Huey's
around.
talking about like you don't have like strip malls where there's like a big parking lot and at some time during the night there's nobody there. You could do it or very early in the morning.
During the night we sleep, Neil.
What about very early in the morning, Betty?
It's too early.
Yeah.
It's no, and all these places are usually either closed, they close it up, or you can't go there, or there is people having their cars already parked there. So it's they had a little military place where my brother-in-law brought my sister to learn to drive there, and they can only go there certain I think in the weekends maybe,
Mm-hmm.
and but that I think they closed that off. You can't go there anymore.
But Huey,
So
don't you think they should give a different lesson in America? They should really put people on a highway. They should make people merge, get off, and do all the things that you do. Because they just have them going down the block, make a broken U-turn, a K-turn. Okay, parallel park, here's your license. So that's what you have driving all over the highways of America.
Yeah,
now
yeah.
I know why the American driver's license doesn't go here in Holland.
Yeah, it's pretty poor. It is. I have to admit, Neil's right because it doesn't teach you anything. I'm not going to tell you how I learned to drive. You'd laugh. But that parallel park, I have yet.
No.
What?
How you got your driver's license? Where did you get it?
It's not how I got. It's not how I got my driver's license. I said how I learned to drive.
Yeah, that's.
I'll tell you how I learned. I stole my mother's car in the night when they were sleeping, and I just took it out. And her and my cousin would wake up in the morning, and they would argue. I had a full tank last night, and my mother would say, "Connie, I filled it up. I'm telling you." And I just sit there, go to school. This is on a regular basis.
Oh my god, that sounds so like you, Neil.
It does sound like him, doesn't it? So we can focus on Neil instead of this.
Oh, good.
All right, he's starting the friggin' robot.
I want to hear how you learned how to drive.
Oh, you would have to bring that shit back up. Now Betty, she's not gonna let it go.
Yeah, I'm not. I want to know why and how and what you did or did wrong.
I didn't do anything. Well, in these days, what I'm gonna say is gonna be quite shocking. I learned to drive. I learned to drive drunk.
I don't know. It seems to me that America is like a dangerous territory.
Yeah, but see, this was.
No, they learn their license with
Jeez.
drunkenness. Amazing. Take their cars of their parents in the nights.
I
It's
didn't.
like hazardous.
I didn't say I took my. That was Neil's story. I didn't take my parents' cars.
Combined. Oh,
So it was my friends, and we lived in the boonies. Do you know what the boonies mean?
Oh yeah.
but
The boonies, back roads, dirt roads, not paved roads, and
mm,
and hundreds of miles of them through the hills
oh, hillbilly.
and through the hills, through the woods. There's dirt roads everywhere. That's where I learned to drive. Long before I had a driver's license, love.
Well, drunk seems to be difficult. You will hit a tree every other meter.
Hold on a second, Betty. My uncle Dave used to drink with a bottle of scotch and his drink of scotch right next to him, take everybody from the city to his home in Pennsylvania, and never once got into an accident, was as calm as can be, sat through the traffic. I remember as a kid, it wasn't like anything wrong with that.
Yep.
People sitting three people in the front was no big deal.
Yep.
Mm.
Yep. Times have
Yeah.
definitely changed, right?
I've become overprotective.
Now, don't drink and drive, okay? I'm not saying. I'm just telling you how it came about for me.
In the boonies.
Yeah, in the boonies, because there was nobody around, right? There was no one on the roads. It
An
was late.
occasional bear.
It was late at night in the wood line, and that's how I learned how to drive.
Excellent.
Yep.
So if you can drive drunk, then you can also drive sober.
You could drive, and we did it on poor weather. 12 inches of snow, ice-covered roads. We weren't being crazy. That's just how we learned. It's how I learned.
I think that might be even better because we are nowadays learning to drive with such much carefulness and preciseness that you need to be able to make some mistakes to learn from.
Yes.
I remember me driving, and I went into these turns. These when you go off the highway, you have these turns in Holland where you get off the highway and then you get into some bendy bend, and I was
bendy bent. Are you talking about traffic circles? Are you talking? Listen. Are you talking about traffic circles?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So, but I didn't. We have clutches, right? Where you have to have gears, where you have to gear down when you go into some that sort of bend and that sort of circle, and I didn't do that, and I went with like an enormous, massive speed into those. Oh my goodness! And I tried to gear back, and it wouldn't work because I was driving too fast, and I had to do so many things at the same time. It was like, oh, and my how do you say that? The guy that was next to me teaching,
Instructor.
he said, going a little bit fast. He let me make that mistake. I never did that again.
Right.
Yeah. So, and also these special things that you have to do, like turning in the street, right? Not telling you how to do it, just say, okay, you can do it, right? And then thinking, why is this car going the same way backwards? And as I wanted to get out of that bend the other way around, right? Wanted to make a U-turn in the street, and it didn't work, right? So, and he said, yeah, turn on the wheel, and I said, not so fast. He said, yeah, you have to do this fast, otherwise you won't turn. I said, yes, but I want to do this very elegantly because I don't want to get myself into sweat while turning the wheel. He looked at me and he was laughing. He said,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but you need to do something with the wheel to turn around.
You have to do something here.
I had to work for it.
Well, Betty, I look back and God really protected me because,
Yep.
Huey, you talk about driving drunk. When I was 18, well, we got into this is before Christ, we got into a stage of smoking angel dust. And I
Oh.
drove my mother's car totally out of my mind on angel dust, where you're a total zombie on that. Don't ask me how. I got the car. I was driving. I went to where I was supposed to go, and I got home. But don't ask me how. And you can't tell me that God did not protect me from a disaster. Because later on, a few of my friends, they got locked up for vehicular manslaughter because this
Mhm.
kid, Joey Kowa, was driving while he was on angel dust, and he didn't even realize that he had hit somebody with his work van and dragged them like about 10 blocks.
Jesus, this is going down a really bad turn.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying I was protected from that. And
Before
it's
Christ,
crazy.
it's not angel dust.
Yeah, you like that, didn't you, Betty? Before Christ.
Yeah, I like that. That's so nice.
Well, they called it angel dust, but it really is demon dust.
Thanks, Neil.
Wow.
All right. Well,
I
back to
thought that they crowned down these angels
oh,
before Christ.
brother. Now back to Betty's point. She's right because there's no practical skills going on. Here's another big one. This is what I noticed from being in the passenger seat of people driving.
Mhm.
In general, I'm just saying generally, not everyone. People lack anticipation skills. They don't anticipate anything. It drives me absolutely nuts. This is what drives me nuts. Hope my wife's not listening. You see the light coming, right? It's maybe 300 yards out. And you don't take your foot off the gas. You keep it on the same speed, even though you know this light's going to be there alone. You know the light. You know how long the light takes to turn. It just la-di-da, not paying attention in dreamland, and you get up close to it and you slam the fucking brakes. I'll tell you what, I've about had it with that.
Your nose must be in the front.
Just roll on up there. Be cool. You can be cool about it too. Just slow down, 150 yards, 100 yards. Take your foot, get you off the gas. Maybe pump that brake just a little bit, slow your speed down, and roll on up there. And save your brakes.
That's what bothers you. What bothers me is staying at a light, and when a light turns green, it takes people 20 seconds to hit the gas.
Well, no, they're on their phones. They're all on their phones. That's pretty. I would rather be on the road with a drunk driver than one that's looking at their stupid phone.
Agreed.
Yeah, they're zigzagging all over the place.
Yeah, yep. I tried to pull that maneuver one time. I was going up the road, and I always tell my kids, don't you just leave the phone to the side till you stop, and then go ahead and text back, right? So I'm on the road and not taking that advice. Somebody texted me. I got the phone, and I looked down, and I looked back up, and I was over in the other lane. I said, that is the last time I'll ever do that. And I put the phone down.
These kids are more like trained to do that than you are.
Yeah, I guess you guys are, because if somebody messages me or a phone call, I don't pick the phone up.
Not me neither, by the way. I don't do that. But I do have Google Maps on my phone, and I need to sort of glare over to see which way I need to go from time to time.
Right.
Yeah. So, and that thing is also, I don't have a holder for it in the car, and I need to get one because it's really aggravating. And also the sound when it's on your passenger seat and you don't have a passenger to hold it, right? It's on my passenger seat, and at one time I had to really make a sort of an emergency stop because someone in front of me was stopping, and so on the brakes, and then my whole phone ran through. Not through the window, not that, but it went on the passenger floor, right?
Right.
And there's nothing that I can do with that phone because everybody drives on, and then what happens is usually you have to stand or wait in front of traffic lights forever. But when you need to do something with your phone and on your phone, it is green and you have to go, right?
yeah.
Any breaks with that ever. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. That's pretty funny. Don't you have that little voice on the, on the ground positioning systems? Don't you have like a sexy male voice telling you where to go?
It's a woman.
You got a woman
Very
too.
light voice.
I had a TomTom thing, but you have to update those. And here in Holland, they tend to change stuff up a lot. One time you can go in that street, and then it's a one-way street, and it's awful. So I use now Google Maps because it's more up to date, right? But back in the TomTom times, I wanted to have a guy tell me the road,
Right.
tell me how to drive, because I don't trust women with maps.
Well,
I
join
have
the
an
club.
idea.
But what I noticed is that with the TomToms, every man had a woman's voice in there, which is weird because I never listen to women.
That is hilarious.
I had an idea.
What do you want, Neil? Why do you always keep on interrupting our conversation?
I got a delay. I have an idea. GPS, but have voices like Tony Montana, Rocky, Michael
Tony
Corleone. Maybe
I don't understand you, Neil. I don't know. Are you driving into a tunnel or something?
Supermarket.
Supermarket?
Supermarket tunnel.
I didn't know that there were supermarket tunnels.
There is now. That Nathan, not Nathan and I, but Adam and I were just talking about this subject. Where'd Adam go, by the way?
I think he had his tea already.
I'm sat here listening.
Remember we were talking about that, how we found our way back in the day without any ground positioning systems, and we talked about it. We had those big fold-out booklet maps. That's how we found where to go, where we were going.
Driving and looking for the road, huh?
Well, you had to
driving with the map all over the steering wheel and trying to get away.
Yeah. But we're usually pulled over, though, right? You pull over because you can't, unless you have, a navigator in the right-hand side. That was always the navigator. The passenger seat was always the navigator.
Yeah, usually the woman of the man, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and she always got punished for it because she always did wrong or said the wrong
Yes.
thing. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, right here. No, I told you to wait.
Yes.
Oh my God. Yeah. Those were the times.
Hey, I remember one time we were up there. It was back in the day. This had to be 78, 79. Doesn't matter the year anyway. We were up in Lake Erie. It's called Beachcombers. And I was riding in a passenger seat with my friend. And we were pulling out of a little beach community onto the highway. Now, it was 1, 2, 3, 4-lane highway. But we needed to go north. And the one closest to us was the south. So he had to cross 2 lanes to get over to the other side. This is a normal, average thing everyone always does, right? And so I did my part. The passenger side navigator has a couple other responsibilities. He needs to look down there, down on his side, to make sure everything's clear. And you don't say go because people think that sounds like no, especially there's a lot of noise in the vehicle and stuff. You say clear, right? So I'm looking down the road, and it was clear. So I say clear. This dumbass pulls out. Guess what he didn't do?
I have no idea.
He forgot to make sure his side, the cars coming down, were clear. I was like, we almost got killed. I looked over. I said, what the fuck is your problem, man? He said, well, you said it was clear. I meant on my side.
Yeah. I have had such situations too. Yeah. Yeah, there was close brushes of like, wow.
What the hell?
Yeah,
Is he some kind of retard? Did you forget how to drive?
Yeah. Well, one time I went to Cyprus. It was in 2018, and of course the English drive on the other side, and also in Cyprus, right? So my brother-in-law said, "Well, you drive," right? So I had
Oh
to
God.
also go into a automatic car, right? So I usually drive with gears, and then on the other side of the vehicle, and then driving, right? It's just the idea of it is such a total twister in your mind, you
Oh
know.
yeah.
I know in where I'm now, how I've learned. I know how much space I have on the right side, but then you sit on the other side, and then you have to sort of anticipate how many space you have on the left side now of your car and of the street, and you have to go on that side, and it's
No, couldn't do it.
totally.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Couldn't do it.
I think these people in Cyprus and on Cyprus, the island of Cyprus, they have to be so adapted of all these crazy people from Europe and other places, not knowing how to drive there.
It's a lot easier if I just go, like when I go to Italy, I've got an Italian car. It just reverses, and so there's no problems in your head. It's when you're driving an English car, so the steering column's on the opposite side. You're not facing the oncoming traffic. You're actually putting your passengers nearest to the oncoming traffic, your near side. So that's harder, but it's not hard. Your brain just switches around instantly. Like you panic the first time you come to an island, and then you go, "Oh yeah, obviously."
That's some stupid. That's bullshit. I could never do that. How in the world did you guys ever think that up? What the hell were you thinking?
No. It was you, bunch of retards, that reversed it. Perfectly fine the way we invented it.
All right, that's Adam's edition for the
the
show.
worst place they say was Sweden. Unlike Cyprus being an island, see Japan's the same. Unlike Sweden, I think it was in the late 50s. There's a day in Sweden where they drove like us correctly, but they obviously switch to comport with Europe. So there's one day where suddenly everybody's got to drive on the other side of the road.
No way.
Yeah.
Ooh, I would like to see that happening in your country, Adam. See that happen. Everybody all of a sudden have to drive on the other side.
There's a few countries that drive properly still. I think Japan. I think Australia doesn't it?
Drive properly? That's not properly. It's stupid.
Caribbean.
You have the masses behind us, Adam. You have no say in this.
Oh, consensus. You've got.
Yes.
I couldn't do it. I could. It just wouldn't compute.
You know that even if you are not driving a car, just sort of crossing the street is difficult. I'm used to first watching a certain way and then the other way, right? But now you have to do it the other way around. It's so stupid in that sense because you really forget.
Are you saying that my situation up there with beachcombers? Do you say it would be the other way around? How so?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They're not going different directions. They're just on the other side of the road.
So you have to first look left and then right. Yeah.
Oh my
Right?
God.
It's totally different. You only notice it when you have to do it, and then you notice that you're not watching close enough.
Yeah.
What way do you read, Bay?
What?
Which direction do you read?
Which direction do I read? From
Left to right or right to left?
Left to right.
Not that alien a concept then.
What the hell does that have to do with anything?
Well, I wouldn't want to do it the other way around. Makes no sense
Why?
for most books.
What difference does it make? Seriously, don't you look both ways before you cross?
Yes, I do. But
That's what I was always taught. Not just randomly look one way and run.
That's what my guy did.
Adam, it's really very interesting how that happens. You tend to look at the place that immediately will give you cars, right? So that's the situation where you first will look at. And if you do that in the other way around, sort of world, you tend to overlook that, and you think, okay, but that guy is not going past me because he's going to on the opposite of the road, and I will have enough time to
Right.
go around it. I
Right.
mean, it doesn't compute. It's really stupid.
It's really stupid.
Yeah, it's so weird in your mind. It's really weird. I was lucky that my brother-in-law wanted to drive, and he did a really good job, also in the mountains and stuff on Cyprus. But also he, with most experience on driving, he did a good job. I mean, but also he, yeah, made a couple of mistakes that he was like facing another car head on. That guy, and these people are so accustomed to it there that they almost, well, they feel that these stupid tourists will make mistakes. So yeah, it's interesting.
Am I still roboting?
No, you're good.
Sorry.
The worst is driving tired. If you're tired, that is the worst of all.
That's a completely different subject, Neil.
But it still contains driving, so he's still at least a little bit in the lane.
A little bit in the lane. Good one, Betty. That's a pun.
Damn, our numbers have been going up, man. Jeez, oh man, just listening to us talk about driving. Yeah, it's a strange one out there. Say again?
Maybe we should open the panel. We got a couple of guests.
We have a couple guests. Sorry about that. I haven't been paying attention. And Adam, you need to get closer to your mic. Stop mumbling.
I'm leaning back. I was leaning back again. I was relaxing again, you see.
Yeah, I see.
Just stop relaxing.
What's also in the lane here, I mean, I live in a small country, so when we drive a little bit, we are in Belgium or you are in Germany, right? And the situations in those countries are different, right? Sometimes the situation of the roads in Belgium are like bad, right? Like
they're too skinny.
And really bad roads, and also bad lighting, right?
Yeah, bad lighting and too skinny.
and the way that you get off the highway is also different. Also in Germany, when we in Holland get sort of like warned, in so many meters you have an exit. It's called that, and then afterwards, you get maybe another sort of notification. Okay, it's almost time to get off the road. So many meters, and then you're off, right? And it's a long way, and then you basically take a turn, and then you're off the highway. But in Germany, for example, it's like it says Ausfahrt, and then immediately you're off. If you miss it, you miss it, right? And with Ausfahrt, that means for us in Holland means sort of when people die, right? You go to the funeral. So Ausfahrt means funeral, sort of. So when we see that word Ausfahrt, it means like, huh? We go to
depart.
No, not fart.
Not fart. Depart, as in to leave.
Yes, yeah. To exit, an exit. It's really stupid.
Andrew said Belgium is. Andrew said the Belgium is the scruffy sibling in Western Europe. Reminds me of the UK in many ways.
Yeah, well, every single country in Europe has their own things. Also, you have these gasoline, the tank stations, right? The pump stations.
Yeah.
Called the pump station? Yeah.
Yeah.
And in Holland, every like so many kilometers, you have one, right? So you will never ever run out because there's always someone that will sell you gasoline, right? But one time I was on the road to France through Germany, and then long time on the highway, no gasoline station, nothing at all. So you have to basically sort of get yourself acquainted with where they are, or you have to at least say, okay, I'm going to take some gas in here because I might not encounter any more afterwards. It's really weird.
I wonder how many, when cars first came out, I wonder how many people ran out of gas because they didn't have enough gas stations.
A lot. Yeah, that's a pretty cool story. I don't remember that about Germany because we had stowed our own fuel, but that you could be right about that.
Well, maybe around Berlin, maybe there might be many more gas stations or petrol stations, whatever.
No, I'm talking about I drove a lot in West Germany. You still might be correct.
Yeah, but here, in these longer roads, you also can go a lot faster than in my country. I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
So, Kiwi, did you drive on Autobahn at all?
Yeah, I did many times, but we were driving Hummers.
Nice.
That created another problem. When the Hummer first came out, see, we were the first ones to get them. In fact, I was one of the first ones to drive it in the military. It just turned out that way. It's a long story. But the smaller roads, now in Belgium, you can forget about it. We ain't driving no Hummers in Belgium. You can only fit half the Hummer in there. But in Germany, some of the roads are the same way. Not some. Now, I'm saying some of the roads, not all of them. Right? And we would run into all kinds of problems. And you could see some. I have some of the cars, I think, in the slideshow. If I don't, I have them in pictures. Doesn't matter anyway. Would be on when the wall was up. I was in a unit that did wall patrols. You could see me sometimes, like I said, in the slideshow in there in the wall patrol. But anyway, we'd come up against cars that were parked in our lane. We couldn't get by them. So we'd have to get out and pick them up and physically move them out of the way. And my buddy had a saying, right? He said, if you crashed the Hummer, see, back in those days, if you crashed one, then they would take the driver, they would take the money out of his next couple paychecks to help pay for it. It's just the way it went. But he always had a saying that if you drove to the left, as far as you can to the left, and you still hit something, then you were never meant to go through there anyway.
So some people would never get any money in a year, right? Because these Hummers must be a lot of money.
No, they could only take a certain percentage according to your rank out of they couldn't take all of it.
Okay, well, good.
Yeah.
You got a Superchat, by the way.
Oh, yes, I do. Go ahead.
Yeah, the name's Burley. Who's steering this thing?
Yeah, that's a good damn question. I'll tell you what, it's not Adam, because we'd be on the other side of the friggin' road.
Correctly, yes.
We got another
drunk driving.
message.
From the
original Rose gives you some money.
Hey, thanks. Thanks for watching the show, man. Appreciate that. I guess you're learning about driving. We're just talking about everyday common things among the common men and women of the flat earth what we go through, and no one ever speaks about. This is where you find this material.
Because the whole topic is basically dead. The globe is dead, and there's nothing to be said.
Yeah, unless somebody wants us belly up to the.
What am I want to do, huh?
Unless some idiot wants to belly up to the bar and get friggin' shellacked.
Yeah, well, you got. Hold on, you got Mark G in here. Mark G's he's a certified idiot.
Where did he get his diploma?
Probably in the Netherlands.
Hey! We have the most flattest country ever. There's no Dutch mountains to be
really?
in sight. No.
No, so I said, really? You said, we have the most flattest country. I said, really? And then you said, no.
Because you
Checked out.
fast.
Most certainly yes, but I'm thinking not.
As far as you know.
In that sort of vein, right, Betty? So you're saying that the Netherlands is the flattest country?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Even below water.
Oh, you figure just because something's below sea level doesn't mean it's flat.
Well, lowland, low countries. How about that?
You're low countries. Yeah, we knew that.
Yeah. We
So-
loathe you.
So what dike did you crawl out from under?
I put my finger in the dike.
I tried that one. She slapped me.
That's a line from Scarface when he's in the tub.
She slapped.
You surprised me with that one, Adam. Of course you did.
And Adam, what did she say, Adam? This is not Star Trek. You don't go where no man has gone before.
I can't remember what she said because she was Dutch.
She was Dutch. Adam, just leave. Adam,
Ga weg, Hufter.
just hold up. Just leave now because it ain't getting any fucking better than that.
Good night and God bless.
Goodbye and God bless. Yeah.
That's what she said.
Yeah, that's what caught Betty off guard. You always do that too, Adam. That I like the cut of your jib, man.
Betty's a sucker for like British seaside postcard humour, isn't she?
Yes.
Benny Hill.
Benny Hill. Wow, haven't heard that name in it. Haven't.
I didn't like him much, by the way.
That was a Catholic boy's dream, Benny Hill. That's to watch that every night at 11:30. Sorry.
Why?
Because you saw girls on it, and sometimes you get a nude shot.
They're like one horny guy, filthy, fatty hair, and like these giddy eyes with these.
What the
fat
hell
balls.
is? What the hell
And
is?
then he would be after women that would not even see him around for miles because he's not attractive at all.
What the hell is fatty hair?
Fat hair, yeah, the fat, greasy hair. Fat.
Greasy hair. Is that what it is? Is that how they say it in Dutch?
Yeah, fat.
Fat. That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
with
I
a,
didn't know
with a
that.
V, not with an F.
Vet.
Fat hair. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
a vet, like a veterinarian. Vet.
Yeah, fat. Yes.
What? Vet or fat?
Fat.
They're saying fat, but with a V.
Yeah, a fat with a V.
Oh,
Yeah.
brother.
The car.
So greasy hair, you can bake potatoes in. Yeah. He always had that. He had these really big cheeks, right, on his face, and always like sweaty and ugh. That guy was like
What
such a pervert.
Betty, what about the little old man that he used to smack in the head?
It was sad. Totally sad. I remember my dad looking at it. And laughing, and I was like, "What the hell? Why do women cooperate with this nonsense?"
What the heck?
Have a paycheck.
Yeah,
There you go.
exactly. That's something that I think that's something that I would never do. Why not lower my standard for some paycheck?
Yeah, right.
Well, I'm here for free, mister. And I don't need to be.
Hey,
Well, let's take a look. I think you're making some stories up. See, I couldn't remember what Benny Hill looked like.
hey, I put the Bill in Ballbusters. I'm just a Bill cartoon.
So there's Benny Hill. So what's that? He's over here to the right, Betty. So check it out. What are you talking about?
Where is he? To the right? Huh?
Over to the right, yeah. And over here a little bit, but main one's over here. So what are you talking about?
I don't know what you're looking at. Is it on the television? On the television.
Yeah, it's on television, Betty.
God. Let me give me your picture. Copy, and I will put it in BALLBUSTERS text
I
here.
put it. It's on live stream. Everyone's looking at it.
No, I'm not. Apparently, it's I see Mr. Patton.
Not anymore. You shouldn't. Should have caught up by now.
See QE, you magnificent bastard. That's what I say.
It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be anymore.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, okay. Yeah, but come on, you get a picture from like the 60s. Look
Yeah.
at the next to it.
Which one? This one?
The next one that is on the same line. The second, the
This
last
one?
picture.
This one?
How can I say yes? Because you're pointing the thing, and I'm getting a
Yeah, I got you. I got you. Okay. What row? And then we're going from left to right. We got 1, 2 rows, part of the third row, part of the first row, but we got this. Let's just call this the first row and the second row.
Yeah.
What picture?
The one next to the black and white.
One next to. Why don't you just go where I said? I said we got 2 rows. 1, 2.
Imagine the driver's seat and
Yeah.
me giving direct.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine it. So see, this is number 1 from the left, first row, first picture. This is the second picture on the first row. This is the third picture and the fourth. You see, in that vein.
We could have been there already. Unbelievable.
What? Which one? The black and white? This one?
Next to the black and white.
No.
Yeah, come on. The second row of full pictures, right? And then the last of the 4. That one.
He's drinking wine?
No.
Oh.
It's just his face. It's just his face.
Some of
This
the
one?
criticism that Benny Hill used to get, Huey, was that he portrayed women as a bit dumb and not able to follow instructions.
Belly up to the mic, Adam.
I'll leave it. I'm not saying that again.
Be very careful of the next words that are coming out of your mouth.
Okay. Follow the goddamn convention, Betty.
I told him already, the full second row. And yes, that one. Look at the giddy eyes, these fatty cheeks, right?
I don't listen, I don't find men attractive, right? First of all.
Yeah. But if you had to, would you?
What if I had to do what?
Would you be able to kiss the guy?
No, I'm not kissing any guys. My wife's in the back saying, "What? What did you say?"
What do you think? This is Brokeback Mountain?
She's back there asking. Never mind, honey. I'll tell you later. But okay, I'm not seeing all the bad things you said about this guy. Maybe there's some other pictures.
He
was a pervert, Huey.
This.
You rumpus Betty, Neil. Go ahead, Betty.
Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. There's other pictures, and you will know. You will know. I put one in the.
Oh, you put one. Okay, let me take him off of there. Then. All right. Yep. 1 second. It's in. Is it in Discord?
Yes.
And
he's about 70 odd, isn't he? Towards the end of his career, parodying himself a little bit for a bit of cash. He did end up a broke recluse.
Oh, Betty, you're trying to put him in a bad light.
Yeah, this is how he is, how he plays.
His story's quite sad because he's one of the first casualties of the change in culture.
The what?
The change in
Changing
culture.
culture.
Oh,
It's not. It's not Benny Hill that's making the 70s and early 80s like that. He's He's big. I said it earlier. That British postcard, which is a little bit innuendo, a little bit lewd. Yeah.
Benny Hill used to
that
be
was
my
one of
show.
the first things to be attacked within mainstream culture to bring in it's you know, it's sexist, it's this, that, and the other. Kind of reality of how things were. Whether it's right or wrong, it's how things were. He wasn't the portrayer of that. That's
yeah,
kind
was
of
it really
how
that,
men and
that
women
we
were.
as women would follow these fat guys with big cheeks and giddy eyes around in sexy clothing? That's how things were.
Everything was like that on Britain. We didn't have as many
Oh,
channels
yeah,
as you.
in Britain.
Everything was clad with
It's
pretty
an
women.
island.
No, everything was clad with pretty women. Game shows. You'd have a male host and a pretty female. Yeah. Kenny Everett, a gay comedian, he'd have pretty attractive women, very scantily clad. Yeah. Well, that's what TV was in the 70s and 80s.
Hey, Adam, what does
It's the
Nathan
sex
always say? Sex sells.
Yeah, no, exactly. It was the sex cell. There's no
Yeah.
point.
I understand that.
I put all your 3 photos up in succession there, Betty.
Okay, good. Yeah, well, it's the thing is that I didn't like his humor. I didn't like the whole sexist pervert thingy that he had. It was always,
Row,
it was
number
so
5.
not classy.
I loved it.
I know. It might be your style, Neil.
That used to be my show. That used to be my show.
That was BC though, right?
What?
That was Neil said he loved it, but that was BC.
Before grunge.
Yeah. Oh yeah. BEC. That was BEC.
Too funny.
Yeah, but she's right. Benny Hill was a pervert. He was a female exploiting British pimp, basically.
Benny Hill was a female?
No, I said he was a British pimp.
Heroes.
Misogynist.
When you're a Catholic boy, Benny Hill was the man. He had the
Yes.
girls on, and that's all we
Yes.
wanted to see.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
all paid and done for. I mean, if you have the money, you can buy everybody around you. You see that also in these video clips of certain music guys. The guys are horrible to look at, and then you have these classy women around them in almost nothing, right? They almost wear nothing. It's like so nasty. Why is that?
Yeah. It's terrible
Just
now.
to come
It's
back
real
to that attack on Benny Hill. It's interesting.
No,
Who
it's
was
not
the
an attack on
Who
him.
was
It's
the butt of the jokes?
whole theme.
Betty, let Adam have his mic time.
Okay, sorry.
In Betty Hill, in Benny Hill, who were the butt of the jokes? Were the attractive ladies butt of the joke, or were the pathetic men who were so easily
Pathetic men.
distracted and not able to perform their normal functions because they were distracted by an attractive lady? Who were the butt of the jokes? Who was being parodied, ridiculed, men or women?
Women, because the women were behind
Wow.
chasing him.
Adam
No,
says, wow.
Look, then you've not watched Benny Hill. That's all I
I
can
did.
say.
But I look at
But then you, like many a distracted man, couldn't see past those. What would they say in the 70s? That lovely pair of knockers.
the thing is that an unattractive woman would not be featured. An unattractive man we have to look at as women. We didn't never get the other way around.
No, that's a very different thing. Who's
Yeah,
being? I
apparently.
pointed out who was being parodied. Not do we get equality of eye candy, which is what you're asking.
Somebody says Betty Hill in the chat. Arwin,
the quality of eye candy. That's something I'd never thought I'd hear on this show. Like hairless Mexican dogs. It just comes up.
That's what Betty's saying.
you know-
It's not fair. We didn't have any Chippendales on.
Yeah, Adam, that's what I'm saying. It's either that she's complaining that women were exploited and there was misogynistic, male-dominant exploitation of females, or she has to admit that it would have been okay if they had the equal amount of eye candy for the women. Then there would not have been any such offense.
Yes. Well,
Yes.
both basically. Back in the day, I would say that there should have been eye candy for the women as well, right? To sort of even it out a little. But nowadays, I'm thinking that there was an emphasis on women to be beautiful. Otherwise, they wouldn't be featured in anything, right? Women had to be good looking all the time.
Yeah, but it was. But
Also-
remember, back then, women weren't superficial like they are now. They saw past a man's
True.
look and looked
True.
at his character. That's
Do you
what was
think
attractive in a man. Is in,
Well, and they always look towards his status too, a man's status.
look
Whether
at
the guys,
look at the men. Yeah, they were ugly
but-
as hell. They weren't. They didn't have
Right.
good-looking men on. They had men of intellect and renown and stuff, or funniness like Benny Hill. You didn't really get male eye
wasn't
candy
funny.
unless it
But
was a
see-
movie. And Errol
but you know what
Flynn.
though? Did you know what though, Adam? What women fail to realize is that, I mean, technically, men get breast cancer, right? Right? Yes or no?
What?
Do men get breast cancer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so men have breasts, right? Now let's
No.
count how many men.
No.
Now let's count. No. Now let's count how many men
No.
have their.
No,
let's
you can't
count how
make
many
past
men.
that.
Okay, come on. If a man has breast cancer, therefore he has breasts. If a man gets patella cancer, that means he has a kneecap. Okay, there's no
Right.
ifs, ands, or buts about it. So with that
Right.
being said, what I'm saying to you is more women have seen more men with their shirts off, seeing men's breasts, than we have had the opportunity of seeing women's breasts.
Jesus.
What the hell?
I can no longer object.
I can't object to that either. That's very
Okay.
good, D-Rose.
Okay,
That's right.
I mean, come on. Let's be
Oh,
real.
come on.
Think about it.
Well,
Think
that love
about.
you guys, we can't even see it now on television with
What
all
I'm
the
saying.
open-mindedness
No,
we have now.
no, they always cover up the
Yeah,
the
it's
nipples.
always
Don't you? Hey, I'll tell you what. You're getting real close to be getting kicked out of here.
Which one?
Yeah, you, not Betty. You.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Let's just go ahead, Betty. This is a no-win topic, right? It's
That's-
use. Let's get back. You went off the
I'm-
topic of Benny. Wait a second. I'm not done yet. Put a cork in it. You went off the subject, like Adam said, of Benny Hill. Now we're off in the rambling subject about the nudity between men and women on television, and this is going nowhere.
Nope.
Well, I think before Benny Hill was on television in Holland, it wasn't so much nudity on, right? So Benny Hill was one of the guys that brought the nudity to the television sets. One of the guys, I shouldn't say he's all that, right? But he was one of the guys.
Get
the other
lost.
you couldn't see, right? So that was basically sort of a sexualizing more opening the taboos of sex and of nudity on television. And
No.
I'm thinking, yes, it was.
I'm
that
not
was-
having that. There's not one nipple ever shown on Benny.
Oh,
If we-
brother.
when we were kids,
He
if you
said it.
wanted
He said it.
titillation
I didn't say it.
and
I didn't say the
nudity,
word. Q. I didn't say the word. He said it.
I know he
didn't say
did.
it.
I'm jumping on him right now.
I'm about to qualify the word titillation.
Oh, brother.
If you wanted that kind of titillation, you had to stay up late night and watch like European stuff, like Italian stripping housewives. Yeah, you wouldn't get nude. You didn't get nudity on British TV. That's why it was very like Benny
missed
Hill
that?
was. It's all implied. You would not see. You didn't. It was only when Channel 4 came out you got breasts on telly. Really, yeah. They would break
Channel
the
4?
taboo.
What are you talking about? We only had 2 channels.
Channel 4.
We had 3, and I think Channel 4
Wow.
came out in about 80s, the 84, something like that. And then you'd started to get. It's already gone. They've already sacked Benny Hill off by this point, and then they're bringing in semi-pornographic imagery, not this kind of innocent humor, which is based in a man finding a woman attractive. That's what Benny Hill was about.
Dirty old man. Dirty old man.
Yeah?
Yep.
It's not dirty old men. It's dirty young men as well, just as equally.
Yeah.
Any man, when he looks at an attractive woman,
Would you two guys, hold on. Would you two guys shut up for a second? I'm going to put you on mute.
Okay.
Shut up for a second. You guys, Betty and original D Rose, you're rumpusing the shit out of Adam.
Oh, sorry.
I know.
Betty goes, I know. D Rose says, I'm sorry. Can Adam finish his thought? Adam, can you please finish your thought and get closer to the mic?
Is there a finish?
I would draw the distinguishment between what Betty's claiming and what, like Benny Hill were, and what British humour was, and what British TV allowed. It was very different. Like I said, if you think that was Channel 4's selling point. After 10 o'clock, you'd hear lots of swearing and you'd see tits.
Adam!
Very rarely see a bit of boobage. Even, like, I mean, you've got a nice side boob there. Don't get me wrong, and that was common. That's fine. Even on Top of the Pops, you'd have like Pam's people with that kind of. And I said, what's wrong with admiring the female form? I've got no problem with that. Yeah.
That's what a guy would say, yes.
You've just been asking for more eye candy for you, and I've got no problem with putting on.
Yeah, sure, you got no problem. But back in the day, you would have.
I've got no problem if it's done in that sense that we realise that we are sexually attractive beings to each other, and men can look and go, that person's really attractive. Wow, what an amazing body. There's nothing wrong with recognising that response in the human.
Exactly.
What you see later on is a perversion of that. This is very innocent to me, because there's no suggestion of swapping sexes or taking it one way or the other, or intermingling of sex. This is all about natural urges that are still based around a family unit of Christian origins. It's very risque.
Betty's losing it.
No, Adam has a point. Do you think that your pastor or your reverend who has children had sex to Amazing Grace? No, they put on some Tom Jones or some Elvis or some Barry White to get in the mood, and they may even had a glass of wine, because the nature of man and woman is to be attractive to one another.
Televised.
Televised?
Yes. Put on television.
Come on. Oh, but he wasn't doing. Benny Hill wasn't performing any type of.
It is the beginning. At some point, something starts.
No, it was the end, is my point. It was the end of a kind of innocence. You never saw anybody dry humping or any simulated sex on Benny Hill.
Dry
implied.
He's close to getting kicked.
He's only agreeing, and therefore let it roll, please. Unless,
Let me say this.
He's not done yet, Betty. He's not done yet.
I want to make an end of this because I've lost interest in this. I understand where Adam's position is. He likes Benny Hill. It's his
he likes.
He must have been in bed with him one time or another, right?
Betty.
I don't like the guy. I think he's a pervert, and I didn't like his humor at all.
How about kids in the hall? Like kids in the hall that squish to people's heads with their finger. I'm squishing your head. I'm squishing your head. You ever saw Kids in the Hall? Don't know about Kids in the Hall. See, Kids in the Hall was a 1990s UK comedy with 4 or 5 guys. Matter of fact, they were the first ones that did the the cross-dressing Medea, and the Clumps type of men dressing like women. Besides Flip Wilson and Geraldine, they used to do a skit like that too. And they used to have this thing with perspective. They used to say, "I'm squashing your head. I'm squashing your head," and they'd have their two fingers looking at their friend from afar, and they would the camera would have the angle where the two fingers would have their buddy's head in between. They say, "I'm squashing your head." Now that was good, clean comedy.
Hey, Betty, your fellow countryman out here said that this is not the Betty Blabbermouth opinion show.
Yeah, and I said, "Shut up, Arwin."
I like my Freudian slip of Betty Hill.
Betty Hill.
Alwyn picked me up on that.
Hey Adam, you know what Betty deserves? She deserves this.
What the hell?
That's the theme song of Betty Hill.
Dude, buddy, you guys are out of control, man.
Yawn,
Had a good
yawn.
too.
Who's yawning?
Me.
Oh, you said yawn. I get it now.
Ruining your show, so I'll shut up now.
You ain't ruining my show. That was stupid Arwen out there. We won't have a show without Betty.
Exactly.
You better say something, Betty.
Like what?
Otherwise, we won't have a
Still
show.
yawning.
Apparently, you guys, or a lot of guys, don't like women talking, right? You need to shut up and comply.
Don't put that on me. No, I ain't.
No. We love to hear your opinions. They make the show.
Well, the thing is,
Hold up.
and I'm different from you, and I have a different viewpoint. And I know that there's many other women that didn't like Benny Hill at all, for the same reason that I don't like him.
True.
So,
Very true.
So what's she saying, Adam? There's an implied meaning here. Even though it wasn't graphic, there's the implication I think she's going to.
Which
Yes.
was?
Which
What's the
was?
implied meaning then?
It was
I
sort of.
just don't like. I just didn't like the whole humor that he had.
Well, that's feeling. That's not an implied meaning. You're perfectly within your rights to not like it.
Hmm.
Lots of humour I don't like, but that's not to castigate it because of an implied meaning that's yet to be defined. What was the implied meaning?
Perverseness.
We
Women,
just covered that it wasn't perverse by any standards. It was
half-dressed women chasing a guy.
diddle-diddle-it. Yeah.
Jeez.
Exactly. I didn't like it at all.
That's fine. I wouldn't
Yeah.
challenge you for you
And
not
the
liking
thing
it.
is that if a woman, nowadays it seems to be a little bit shifting, but back in the day, if a woman was sort of turning that thing around or made some fun about men, right? It wouldn't be watched. It wouldn't be humorous whatsoever, right? There's a limit that women can do, and there's much more that men can say and do than a woman can.
That's for sure.
That's just feminist bollocks.
Even on this channel, I get addressed for saying certain words, which you guys are easily sort of putting on the table.
Say that again.
If I say the F word, for example, I get addressed. Oh, Betty, you say the F word. Ooh. But you guys say it all the time, and that's okay.
I don't say it all the time.
I know it's a stereotype, but it's more often used by you guys than it's used by me.
True.
Yeah, yes, because women, you're supposed to be more refined, more dignified.
Yeah, okay. So it's dignified for a woman to be half naked, running around in a half naked dress behind a man that isn't even likable.
Now you're cooking.
Yeah, I'm rage.
Now, Betty, I have a question for you. Is it fair is it fair to say that these women did not have guns to their head, nor were they coerced to do this?
I understand. Yeah. And that's why I don't get why these women would do this. I wouldn't do that.
Perfect.
Damn, if
And
I had a
with
body
that,
like that and I was a woman and I could earn money by just standing around, a middle-aged bloke going diddle-it, and I'd go home and I've earned loads of money. Yeah, I'd do it.
It.
That makes you a whore, Adam.
No, I didn't have sex with anybody. Didn't sell myself. See, there you go. You see, nothing wrong with a little bit of that.
Divergent Droid on chat says that his wife burps and farts with the best of them.
What's worse? That bit that Neil brought up, Brokeback Mountain. So a straight man kissing a gay man in acting on the screen and on your TVs, or Benny Hill being dressed as a sailor, being chased around and slapped, being a bit of a pervert. Remember, that's what a lot of it's about. Yeah, being chastised. Yeah, it's done in a titillating way. But
oh, brother,
like I said, I don't get it. I don't get how you can consider this old school stuff like perverted in any way when you look at the modern world. When I was a kid, the reason we watched Benny Hill, as Neil alluded to, was because that was the only place you could see a nice pair of knockers. Yeah. Today, I think it's Jordan Peterson says, today, average 15-year-old child has more access to images of naked women than the richest man in history. He can look at more naked women.
Has been broken by Benny Hill.
vision. So, and this is my point. When you look at this was risque, late night stuff that was for adults.
Yeah.
For adults. You might be able to sneak down the stairs and watch through the door and see a bit of Benny Hill, but it was for adults. And what we've seen is all of this stuff slip into the mainstream as I've described, in a much more sexualized manner. Actually, let's say even dry, lots of stuff. Nipples, even.
You say that one more time, I'm kicking you out.
Yeah, I know. It's Betty's fault. Trying to make out this is the decline of humanity. This is the stuff that was, I say, perverted of adults, not for children.
Right. It came on 11 p.m. Eastern time in the United States. Children should be in bed. Children should be in bed.
What does it matter what time it came?
Yeah, it doesn't.
Where adult men were watching this while their wives are sitting next to them. They were like hanging with their tongues were hanging out of them to see a couple of knockers, like Adam said. Right?
I wasn't married.
For one purpose only, to see almost naked women. And if they were naked, it would even be better. But that was not, at that time, normal. But now it's normalized. So it started there. That's what I'm saying. It started there, and it was a progressive, slippery slope to what we have now, like porn everywhere you look. Even on billboards outside, you see naked women.
Yeah.
You don't see naked men all the way there. Not that I want to see them, because we don't want to see that, right?
You want sausage?
Oh, no, we don't. Brother.
But you guys apparently do.
Well, you know what? I'll take that over seeing the real perverted, if you know what I'm saying. Okay? I would take that way over what's been getting by children's eyes. That's the real perverted, anti-natural way. I'm not going to say it because it's a Q's thing, but y'all know what I'm talking about. Okay?
I think it's a slippery slope. It started somewhere. And not that Benny Hill is the total one guy to go to where the taboo was like broken. But the whole television made sort of all these pictures and images more accessible, right? And it started somewhere. They over-sexualized this whole world. That's what basically happened. Women were made lust objects, and you had two roles of women. One was behind in the kitchen and helping the kids, and the other one was the sex symbol. That's
Yeah.
it. There was nothing in
Yeah.
between.
Washing and it's doing as well. It's not just cooking and cleaning.
Yes, exactly. All those nice chores that was left for us. And then when the guy came home, you had to be a nice woman and in a cute dress to receive the guy that came home. And then he had a second job in the night.
I'm liking it.
Jeez.
I come home to a pretty wife every night.
It would be nice if you guys would see that sort of thing also and would say, okay, it started somewhere. Where we are now, it started somewhere. They
Yeah, you're right.
television.
I
If
feel
we
what
didn't
you're
have any television, we wouldn't be in this predicament.
I think
It
Rudy.
started when women were convinced that they should do our job.
Oh, here we go. This is going to go down a path. We're not going there tonight, folks. It always ends up at this point.
Yeah, that's not correct. And anyway, women, hold on. It all started with pornography, not with Benny Hill. Started with pornography. And that's been since the beginning of time.
How? Where's the
Yeah.
pornography of the Old Testament?
What's that? Come back.
It's in caves.
Prostitution. The Mary Magdalene.
Yeah.
You don't think they were drawing? You don't think they were drawing nudity?
on
You
television.
don't think they were drawing it back then?
Don't start that Catholic bollocks about her being a prostitute.
Yeah.
Prostitution, yeah.
I didn't say that.
No need.
Did not
no
say
need.
that. I said prostitution. Mary Magdalene. I didn't say she was a prostitute.
Good.
Can you tell me what the title of the show should be?
Nakedness.
Shit show all over the place.
Drunk driving, Benny Hill, and the other word.
Benny Hill. Gotta be
Nipple.
Benny Hill.
Call it
How
nakedness.
many more random hits you get to a normal show if you put Benny Hill in there?
Just call it negligent.
Yeah, that's what it is. Negligent.
Benny Hill and a nice pair of knockers.
Oh,
A-N-O.
brother.
Perfectly acceptable on YouTube.
Could have
And
played
you
that.
watch that hit rate go up.
The more slender one.
All right, what else we got? Let's get off this one because I'm willing to stick around for a little while.
Betty was.
What? Why are you rumpusing me?
I hadn't finished the joke.
Get on to some other topic.
So
Chewy, let's talk about these crawling up from under the rocks, coming out of the woodwork and the crevices, globers that have so much to say on YouTube comment threads and on chat threads, but never can grow a pair of balls, no pun intended, to talk about their ball earth on the FED Discord. But they got so much to say.
You want to?
They got dissertations.
What's there to talk about? I mean, they're. I just call them skank and foul baltards. Of course, and it's usually just generalized comments. I don't pay attention to them all that much anymore because I can't post. I can hardly post on my own. That's a good point. For people that are putting comments underneath my video and asking me questions, don't. Because most of the time, I can't even post underneath my own videos. For some reason, they have sort of, I don't know if it's shadow ban, but
He's blacklisted.
Blacklisted. Good word. Yeah. So I can't. So if you're looking for questions or answers to questions from me, you're gonna have to go another route because I can't post. But to speak to your point, I mean, they're just the nameless, cowardless, generalized statements that we've been hearing from the beginning. I think they're benign. I just blow them off, personally.
Yeah. That's why I'm so divergent to, it was underneath one of Nathan's quick 14-minute little inserts, and somebody came in and he put up on there, if you want to be on Discord, Da 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 da. Here's the link. Yada yada yada. Then the guy said something. Then he's going back forth. I said, don't waste your time with these guys. They're cowards. They don't bring this to the table. They don't let their voice be heard. They hide behind a keyboard and an avatar.
Yeah, and they'll never get anywhere within the vicinity of specificity. It'll just be generalized, nonsensical horseshit, right? I could care less. I just bypass it, man. I don't waste my time. I don't waste my time with it.
Only if they have a PhD.
PHG. Is that a new?
What is it? PhD?
What is it now? PDH? RFD?
PDS, ABC, CDN. What is it?
It's PhD.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah.
Black Ice wants to talk about a little real estate oceanfront property in Kansas.
Huh. Well, click your heels 2 times. Maybe you get there.
I'm telling you, we're past those guys. I'll tell you what, it was painful in the end, Black Ice. I had to get past that. Speaking of which, there'll be another treatment. I know Adam's been waiting for this treatment for a while. It's the second half of a treatment that I did, and it's going to be on cream of wheat. I don't know why people just enjoy seeing him get jacked yard for some reason.
Did you guys talk about the other guy that was an investigative journalist?
Did we talk about him? You're talking about Nancy, right?
Yeah.
We talked about him a little bit, but what else is there to talk about?
Well,
The window licker?
by chance came him on Netflix, right? Wasn't it?
He's on. It's funny, didn't you hear Zero say he's the window licker, and he started snickering. Yeah, he's on The Unexplained with William Shatner. It just so happens to be on Netflix. But okay, go on.
He's on a show with William Shatner.
Yes.
William Shatner, Captain Kirk, right?
Yes.
When no man has gone before.
Yes.
Whatever. Okay.
The window licker.
The window licker.
Alright. So that guy is totally invested in space and exploring space and that sort of stuff. Apparently.
I'm sure he is. I don't think that they got into that topic though. But
I understand.
Right. Most of it.
Right?
What are you saying? You're making a connection between William. Have you ever watched The Unexplained?
No. Maybe. I don't know for sure.
Right. It's not particularly or specifically about space. It's various different. That's redundant. But it's different topics. Unexplained. I'm sure they'll get to the Yeti, right? Loch Ness Monster. The other week it was churches that are built into the underground churches.
Okay.
That was the main one he was in. Not the main one, because I've seen his name pop up. He's like the panel member. See, William Shatner, he doesn't talk directly to his panel members. They're like not a sideshow, but I don't know. It's really strange. There's no conversations, right? They just do their little bit of research. The so-called quote-unquote panel members, which there isn't a panel, and they speak to the topic which he's speaking about. Follow?
Is it sort of a colored commentary?
It's not just a color commentary. Some of it is, but other times, like Nancy went to one of those churches, like I was saying. I don't know whether it was somewhere in South America or something. And there was this inside the churches, which were beautiful, by the way. I don't know how these people built these churches underground. That's another thing. But there was this stairway that supposedly defies physics. And yeah, it's got a little weird story behind it. But he went there. Nancy went there and to that church, and he walked up the steps, I think. So it's a little bit more than color commentary.
And William Shatner, does he talk only about things that are pertain to space and travel?
No.
And that?
No, I haven't heard. In fact, I haven't heard. Not that there isn't any, but up to this point, I'm not a habitual listener of the Unexplained. For the 4 shows that I did watch, it had nothing to do with outer space.
Okay.
Well, let me know when they have a show about carnivorous, water-breathing bunny rabbits, and I'm tuning in. I want to see that one.
Well, that was
Pakistani whale dog.
a Pakistani whale dog. You remember that is so funny.
Yeah. Well, it's good. Those shows, there's usually a sort of theme to it.
Say again.
But there's usually a theme to it, right? It's always aliens or something.
No, like I said, it's not always aliens, but it's the unexplained. Like I said, it was about churches before.
Yeah. And nobody knows who made them.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was a good episode. I was intrigued by it because there was pretty majestic churches that are built beneath the surface. So these people chiseled them out of friggin' rock.
Yeah. There's one in Ethiopia, right? Where they think the Ark of the Covenant is.
And you know what? I think this church that was on there was in Ethiopia. I could be wrong, though. Don't hold me to it. I can't remember where it was, but...
That's Lalibela.
Was
Say
it in
again?
the form of a cross?
Say again.
There's
Was it in the
7
form
of
of a
them.
cross?
I still can't hear you because Adam's over talking. You say again, Betty?
Was it in the form of a cross?
The church?
Yes.
No.
Okay. Then it's not the one that I mean.
Okay.
Ethiopia.
There are 7 of those churches in Lalibela, the rock-hewn ones. One of them is in the shape of a Maltese cross. Some of them are different shapes as well, and they're interconnected with tunnels.
Well, there are cities underground. I mean, literally, that's been proven. When they were built, who knows? But there's even when the mudslide, there are civilizations underneath what we live. We're living on top of another civilization in many areas.
Are they
from the cataclysmic mudslide.
Are they still living there?
That's not to do with that.
Right.
Lalibela is a rock
Cataclysmic mud?
Inside Lalibela, they're all rock hewn. So there's interleaving catacombs between the churches, the different apostles, but fundamentally they're all beautiful inside to such high standards, like the great cathedrals in Europe. The locals claim the angels did it, came and delivered these churches. At night, the angels would do all the work for them. They are like stunning pieces of architecture.
Right.
The main outstanding pieces of architecture that exist in the continent of Africa. They're the only few of the ancient world that exists in like, sub-Saharan Africa, if you count Lalibela there.
Well, thanks, Adam. Thanks for that. Can you mumble that some more in your mic?
I was thinking, yeah, it's amazing stuff there. If you go and look at the stuff that's there, it's.
Well, they found these pyramids on many other places as well, right? Like from Cairo and all these pyramids. There's also pyramids in China, and they keep it sort of mystical, away from all tourists and stuff. And they plant trees on top of it, and they hope that nobody will see it.
There's more pyramids in North and South America than anywhere else in the entire Earth.
Also, yeah. And I'm thinking, well, yeah, I want to know who made those, but we never seem to come any closer to the architects of them. Also, what the pyramids was really for, right? From the pyramid of Giza.
So we're going from Benny Hill to the pyramids. Folks, you can't get that kind of coverage anywhere else.
What do you know about the pyramids, John?
Not much.
What do you know?
I said not much, very little. I know they're pyramids. I've never seen them. I'm not saying they don't exist. That's not what I'm saying. You know, like people say, typical flat earther doesn't. No, I just haven't studied on them all that much. I've watched, documentaries and things like that, but most of those were all speculations, right?
Yeah, and they're still going on, right?
Right.
Some people say it was a landing place for UFOs, and other people say it was like a giant sort of factory for electricity. Some people say that it was some chemical factory or something like that, because the River Nile was close to it at one time. They say. It's speculation. We don't really know, right?
Well, the ones in Egypt definitely.
People say it was Mount Sinai. Also, within the Bible, the pyramids are never mentioned, but Mount Sinai is. Part of Mount Sinai is supposedly surrounded by a paving of granite. In the early 80s, pyramids were dug down deeper, and the main Great Pyramid was shown to have a granite pavement all the way around it. So this postulation that possibly Mount Sinai could be the Great Pyramid, because it's not located otherwise other than the Mount Sinai that's in the Middle East.
Well, I think that people sort of mistake which Mount Sinai, right? Because you have the one in Jordan. The one in Jordan is the real one where Moses went up, and because you have a sort of black-topped mountain ridge there, and on the other mountains that they say that's Mount Sinai, there isn't.
Yeah, it's that black ridge path around the mountain. It was the postulation for the Great Pyramid of Khufu to also be the Mount Sinai that's discussed.
I don't know, because they really knew what Egypt was and what the peninsula and all the other places were. So, and they
They had more of a clue than us.
they fled out of Egypt. So how can Mount Sinai be then still in Egypt?
Boy, that was a long topic. I knew it wasn't going anywhere because, like I said, it's all speculation. Every once in a while, I'll tune into one of those documentaries just to, because I find it's quite interesting, right? About how they were built and the reasons why. But no, I don't think we'll ever know. Well, we will, just not in this life.
Yeah, that's one of the first questions I'll have when I get upstairs.
When we get upstairs. My daughter's first question is, why didn't you make everything out of cupcakes?
My question is, who killed Kennedy?
Oh,
You already know.
brother.
Deep state.
Everybody knows Kennedy's not dead, Neil.
Oh, my word.
I'm only messing with you.
I know you are.
But he's not, is he?
I just seen something. I was mucking around on Netflix last night, and I seen a documentary. It's Marilyn Monroe. That's where they mentioned. I knew it. It's funny you mentioned that because they mentioned the Kennedys with Marilyn Monroe. I bypassed it. I don't like. It was one of the previews. When you click down the list and it highlights the movie. They give like a 20-25 second preview, and they were talking about the Kennedys and her. So. That's I'm just rambling because that's where I heard the Kennedys. We can move on.
To what?
I don't know what's coming next with you guys.
Well, speaking of the Kennedys, there's rumor, heavy rumor, that the I forget his first name, but the young man that supposedly died from the ski accident, there have been sightings of him in plain view, but of course, baseball cap, shades, full face hair, like Paul Bunyan type, and this has been a strong circulation of a rumor going on. So, and he's supposed to be, behind the scenes doing a lot of the movements against, all of the tyrannical, oppressive, governmental, coercive things that's been going on that we all know what I'm talking about, but we're not going to say it. So, and there's been photos. There's literally photos of it. This is not an Elvis still alive, Tupac still alive type of thing. This is like legitimate things that he was kind of like, I don't know why, what was the purpose of keeping him alive or faking his death, but there's rumors that he's still around. And his uncle, who talks with the shaky voice, that's an anti-vax person. He pretty much, when he's questioned about it, he doesn't want to get into it. He doesn't want to say nay or yay. So that kind of leads people to suspect that maybe the rumor, the conspiracy theory is true. I forget what his name is, but he was the young guy that died in a ski accident back in the 90s, I believe, or early 2000s. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right?
We lost interest. We lost interest a while back. Original D Rose, man, you got this shade of a National Enquirer editor about you.
No.
Who's this person who died skiing? That's where I'm lost.
Kennedy, the junior Kennedy. He was the one that was like the women's heartthrob, tall guy. He supposed to die from a skiing accident back in the day. I forgot what his name was. Daniel, David, I don't know. The youngest one of the grandsons. Y'all never heard of one of the Kennedys dying from a ski accident?
There's still a Robert Kennedy alive.
Well, that's the old guy with the shaky voice. He's an activist. Not him. This is his. I think this is his nephew, or his his great nephew or something. I think this is his nephew that supposedly died from a ski accident. Everybody knows about it.
Except us.
I forgot his first name.
Somebody in chat will let us know. Let's get it.
But anyway, there's like these rumors, conspiracy theories that he's not really dead.
We got that part. We got that. You're not going to repeat that all over again, are you?
We just need the name. That's what you want to know, the name.
Michael Kennedy killed at 39.
Yes, that's the guy. A ski accident, right?
Yeah.
Yep, that's what I'm talking about.
All righty then.
We also have a Joseph Kennedy.
Thank you. What was his favorite color?
I don't know. I just said that to allude to the Kennedy thing.
Like yours.
Did you say chartreuse?
Yes.
That's not my favorite color, man.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not.
It has a lot in common.
It's not my favorite color. You know damn well it isn't.
And you like skiing too.
I do like skiing, but chartreuse is not my favorite color.
Oh yes, you have a bow that has a chartreuse cord.
That doesn't mean that's my favorite color.
Maybe it's the color green of money.
No, it's not that. I don't like green. I particularly have a dislike for green, especially OD green. Guess why?
Military.
Yeah. So that wasn't my favorite color. You're red herring fallacying me to death.
Well, tell us your favorite color then.
No one wants.
Camouflage, of course.
No one wants to know.
He hates green, Neil. And he hates camel.
Adam's got something smart to say. I know he's going to say it.
Red. I was taking a guess.
Red? No. Hell no.
Hell?
Yeah.
Black.
Black? No.
Color.
A voice check.
That's
Oh
not a
no.
color either.
Betty, you forgot some super chats. We got a couple super chats over here.
We got a super chat.
Oh.
And it's for Humble Age, who just said hi in the mic check. Right?
Oh, mic check. Thanks for the super chat, Original D and Humble H. If I didn't thank you before, appreciate that.
Well, I'm sort of greasing the skids because I've got a bit of a question.
Oh God, Mr. Quantum Mechanics again.
Well, this show ain't going anywhere, so at least, give Quantum Mechanics a chance.
Isn't that a song?
Give Quantum Mechanics a chance?
Go ahead and ask it. Let's see if we got anything. I'll try to give you my best answer.
Well, this is I cause frustration on it because in it I see a crossover between science, and I'm just wondering about this question of mathematics.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm just going to read you something from Freeman Dyson, and
Can I
just
get a cup of coffee in the meantime?
sorry.
I'm going to get myself a cup of coffee, so I take my leave for a little bit.
A little bit. How long does it take to get a cup of coffee?
Maybe 10 minutes.
No, it does not.
Well, I have to clean the pan out.
Where are you going? Starbucks?
Yeah, in Belgium.
Benny Hill stood at my door and asked me to go with him, so I go.
Yeah. Great. Great, thanks. Can we get to his question on mathematics? How long is it? Try to be concise.
Okay, I will. It has to do with something Freeman Dyson said. You're familiar with the name, I'm sure.
I know of Freeman Dyson.
Okay, and he's writing. He says 77 years ago, Erwin Schrödinger invented wave functions as a way to describe the behavior of atoms and other small objects.
Mm-hmm.
According to the rules of quantum mechanics, the motions of objects are predictable. The wave function tells us only the probability of the possible motions.
Yeah.
When an object is
You stop. You already contradicted yourself. First you said not you, but Freeman. He said he made predictions, and then he said they're only probabilities.
Oh, sorry. Maybe I misread. Okay, let me try that sentence again. According to the rules of quantum mechanics, the motions of objects are unpredictable. Does that clarify?
Yeah, that's much better. Continue.
Okay, that was my bad then. Maybe I left the on-ops. All right, sorry. The wave functions tells us only the probabilities of the possible motions. When an object is observed, the observer sees where it is, and the uncertainty of the motion disappears. Knowledge removes uncertainty. There is no mystery here. So far, I'm going to commend you very much for paying close attention so that you could correct my mistakes. But so far, that paragraph is okay, right?
Nah, he's mixing up observations and knowledge, but many people do that. That's okay. I can still live with it though. Go on.
Well, that may become important. So if I could just ask, what would be the differentiation there? Because the word observe,
because they're two different words. One, observations, is seeing stuff, and information, you don't see information. That's the biggest differentiation. Right?
Okay. You just may have answered the question before I need to go any further. Okay, so you're saying observation. So does that make the statement that knowledge removes uncertainty?
In what? Quantum mechanics, yes. We're beating around the bush here. First it was, you said you had a question about the mathematics. So
Well, this comes in after. See, but I was trying to clarify something before we get there. Because it says, unfortunately, people writing about quantum mechanics often use the phrase collapse of the wave function to describe what happens when an object is observed.
Okay, that's descriptions, okay?
No, it's not. No, it's not.
No, it's not what?
No, because within that description is as to reify that there is a wave function to collapse.
I didn't think they were going that far with it. I didn't read that like that.
I think that's where it's going.
Is that where he's going? Read that one again, Humble H.
Unfortunately, people writing about quantum mechanics often use the phrase, and this is in quotes, collapse of the wave function to describe what happens when an object is observed.
What happens when an object is observed? No, that's incorrect.
But that's the claim. When we observe something, this wave function in reality collapses.
Yeah,
You get me?
the wave function doesn't
That's the claim I
exist.
think that's being put there.
I'm sorry, the wave function, it's just a descriptor. There is no wave function per se. Do you understand that? Wave functions, it's a function. That means it's a mathematical concept. There is no physicality to it. Is that one issue?
Well, let me keep reading, because that you see, yeah, you have the information, so you're sometimes ahead of me. Because it goes, this phrase gives a misleading idea that the wave function itself is a physical object.
I guess I anticipated that.
Yes, this is what okay, so then he goes, a physical object can collapse when it bumps into an obstacle, but a wave function cannot be a physical object. A wave function is a description of a probability, and the probability is a statement of ignorance. Ignorance is not a physical object, and neither is a wave function.
True. I like that. I like Freeman Dyson, by the way. I like listening to him speak.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's just to address that statement. The key word is probability.
Right.
So the author recognizes the meaning of the word probability. If I roll a dice, it's probabilities. I'm not getting anything certain. To recognize the uncertainty of it, it's perfectly reasonable. It is, by definition, a probability. There is no certainty. Unless I know.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, the last line goes, when new knowledge displaces ignorance, the wave function does not collapse. It merely becomes irrelevant.
Yeah, he's starting to go off the path here because the statement that, like I said, there's no physicality to it. So I don't know where he's going with this.
Well, you see, this is so if there is no physicality to any of this, how does it fit in to the scientific method?
Oh, you're getting confused. No. The natural phenomena isn't the wave function. Follow? That's not the natural. You have the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Okay, but I think we went here before, but that leaves me with the question: if Schrödinger invented a wave function as a way to describe behaviors of something physical, then something physical must be collapsing.
No, what he did, no. All he did was observe the interference patterns and then come up with a mathematical description that tries to describe what concept of superposition, right? Now, he wasn't the first. Listen, before him was Heisenberg, and they had matrix mechanics, which makes all the descriptions, the appropriate descriptions mathematically of quantum mechanics than Schrödinger. But there weren't too many people that knew matrix algebra, only a few. Max Born was one of them. That came first before Schrödinger's wave. Everyone knew wave mechanics. That's why it was so much easier to adopt that way. Now, that might be getting away from your question. I just wanted to point of order, Your Honor.
Oh, no. All due, honestly, respect, because, yeah, I'm reading another book here called The Great Equation, and it goes into all of that and about the history of how this stuff developed. The big question for me is that we don't have a wave function description without mathematics.
Yeah.
True or false?
Yeah. Hold on a second and ask that question. Give me a second. Timothy P. Southwick just made a super chat. It says, I'm being blocked on your live stream chat from sharing messaging gospel with you and everyone at Quantum Eraser, letting you and others know and understand that my friend and everyone. What does that mean? Is somebody blocking him? Is one of my guys blocking Timothy out there from posting? One of my moderators. I'll get back to you in a second, Hubble H.
Not me.
I've John. No, they're not, Timothy. The mods are a little slack. I've just scrolled back, and if you watch, I'll now press show. Your stuff should come up. It's just nobody's actually activated it. Okay, so if you scroll back now to your most recent post before your super chat, it now says show, and it should be there. And I'll scroll back if there's some others.
He's good to go. He's good to go, Adam. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
Humble H, ask your question again.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I got thrown off a little bit there. Now I have to think about it again. Yeah. Okay. I'm just wondering. We have the wave function as a descriptor.
Yes.
We agree.
Yep.
But that descriptor does not exist without mathematics.
Yeah. Go ahead, Adam. You're going to say the same thing I did. Go ahead.
I think it was put to you by AI Overlord this afternoon. I understand if we want to describe it in a wave function in that specific mathematical term and probability, we do kind of require maths to describe it that way. But we can also describe it on the plate, just in a visual way, whether we get one pattern or a different pattern, depending on the knowledge we have. It's not so much that it's a mathematical description. We can go to that point, and that will yield further investigation. It's not the point that makes the differential, because you can look at the pattern on the photographic plate on the other side. That makes the same differential in terms of the context of what we're talking about.
I'm not getting the overall point here. I'm struggling to get the point, Humble H. I'm sorry, it might be on my side. What is the question?
The question basically is, when does math legitimately enter the process? If I asked someone,
it doesn't.
Right. But we don't have the conclusion drawn from the quantum eraser double slit experiment.
You're missing it. You're missing it. Here, I can solve it for you. Listen, the scientific method is all about explanations, the hows and the whys. They're not that much concerned about the descriptions, which descriptions are the whats and the is's and how they come up to describe things. Does that help out a little bit?
I'll go back to it again. If you do the double slit and you haven't got the numbers, you've just got the knowledge and the two different plates, does that help mean you draw a different conclusion in terms of the path?
Sorry. To me, it means you don't have the wave function that you can then describe as collapsing.
No, you never had. So I think this is the important concept. You never had a wave function. It was just a random bit of numbers that described the probability that you drew an average wavelength, a curvy sine wave through, Yeah, to describe. Oh, that's all that's happening. You're not really. There's never been anything
No.
real to collapse.
So if we don't have a collapse of a wave, something that is described, or I don't know what word to use, you're telling me there is no wave function, there's no collapse. Respectfully, I have QE on a very, very good video saying that wave function equals material, which equals God.
What?
To bluntly.
I don't know what
I'm
you're
getting
talking about.
lost. Let's not get onto QE's outlandish claims about divinity, and just
no, please, no. This is why becomes important to me. If it's laughable what I said, let's discuss that, because I wouldn't want to be slandering QE in any way.
No, I don't
not
think.
interested in.
Go ahead,
slandering.
Adam.
I'm interested in the point you were making. So we were talking about the collapse of a collation of numbers which we can describe as a probability function, a wave function. Yeah, because it has a wavy line through it that we can describe as a wave in its probability distribution of where it will hit. And I said to you, forget the numbers. All we've got is the images on the plate. So we can't derive a probability function from it. All we can see is the patterns that we make, whether we've got the witch path or not. How does that now change your conclusions you can draw? Do you need the specifics of the probability distribution when one particle is fired 1,000,000 times?
But I'm sorry, I'm not sorry. Go ahead. No, I'm not.
Or is the fact that the witch path is known and the distribution changes, whether we can describe it accurately or not, the most important thing?
No, but Adam, sorry.
No, not but anything. Which is the most important thing? We're able to describe the distribution accurately, or that we notice change if we have the witch path.
But do we notice change?
No. Which is the most important to you? It's for us to proceed, so I know how to converse with you. That's why I've asked the question. Oh, gotcha.
I would think the most, if when you say the noticing of change, you mean something happens with the wave function. Yes, I think that would be
I don't mean that at all. That's to misrepresent what I just explained to you.
Okay. Sorry, you may be going over my head.
Just answer the question. Forget any further. It's a 1 or 2. It's all I need from you. Is the important thing that we're able to describe it mathematically as a wave function, number 1, or number 2, that on the photo plate we have a different distribution, which is the significant thing to you?
The significant thing is what's on the photographic plates.
Right. So let's move with that, and we can then dispose of the mathematics, which is a way of describing the event, isn't it?
Right.
Which would have been option 1. So we can leave the maths, can't we? I love maths, but we can leave it here because it's not relevant.
But that's my question. Do we have something that you can describe as a wave function without the math?
What's the image on the plate if we're not observing?
So you're saying what's on the plate we can describe as a wave function?
I think if you were to study GCSE A-level physics, that pattern would be described to you as a wave function, would it not?
Or a histogram.
So we're saying then that the math was just invented to
Yes.
describe
Yes.
on the
Exactly.
plate.
Yes.
Doors.
So, okay, please, okay, let's go with that. What do we then observe on the plates that tells us that something changed?
The pattern
Didn't
changes.
Nathan explain this the other day?
Okay,
Hold on,
Please.
Neil. Hold on, Neil. The pattern changes.
okay, so you can look at it's been observed that there's a pattern on a photographic plate at one point, and then the pattern changes.
This is getting a bit Sesame Street, but carry on.
I'm just asking if that's what I'm being told. Honestly, this is I'm trying to understand it, and I'm willing to drop. I mean,
Let me.
You've clearly got a point, so let's go past the, like I said, the Sesame Street level of this. You've got a claim, make it. Don't outline if there's a point in your philosophy that's contradictory to the basic outlining. I'm sure we'll pick it up, but let's get to the claim you're going to make, or the question, or
Maybe I can help out explain this just a little. Maybe I can do it. Hold on, Humble H. Let's just go back. We'll just do a basic double slit. This is how they came up with it anyway. Okay. So they have a light source, and they fire these lights through a double slit. And what they get on the other side, if there's nothing at the slit detectors, there's nothing. They got a light, they got a double slit, they fire a light through the double slit. No matter how many people are watching this thing that are observing it, they're going to get an interference pattern on the photographic plate. Okay? However, if you somehow put something close to it, doesn't have to be at the detector. We'll just use at the detector right now. You put something at the detector that identifies which path the light is going through, and you have that information. That information has to be stored. It just can't be looking and identify it and then have no information stored for somebody to read it, to recognize it, right? So let's say they have that, and the information stored at every second or every nanosecond, they get a clip and they figure out that, hey, the photon's going, we caught it right here. Once they do that and have that information stored, then the pattern on that back wall changes. You no longer get an interference pattern. Right? Is that good? Does that help explain a little bit?
Yes.
So what caused that pattern change? That's the question, right?
Right.
So
the answer to that question becomes knowledge of the which path that photon took.
Okay, now we can break it down even further. I use the knowledge of the which path. It could be broken down even further. You actually, if you take one more step, why is my phone going off? 1 second. Man, I should have put that phone away. Oh, my God.
Are you taking the call? Or
I was I know where I'm at. Thank you. We're on the knowledge of the which path information. You can boil it down even further to say that you really don't have to know it just yet, but that information has to exist, and that information must be retrievable. How about that? That's the best explanation.
Okay.
Do you follow that?
I'm trying to keep up, yes.
But see, it all boils down to information. That's what it really boils down to, in the existence somewhere of information. Now, my next question is, who can recognize information?
The knower.
Exactly. So it's a feedback. It's a never-ending cat chasing or dog chasing its tail feedback loop between information and a knower. It's always in that circle. It's a vicious circle. Okay, does that help a little bit?
I've got.
Hold on a second, Adam. Humble H, does that help a little bit?
I'm asking now. Okay.
No. I'm saying don't ask another question. Does that help in your quest?
Well, this is what my question is about, and if this is why you will know yes or no whether I do.
Why does it have to be a mystery?
Because this is a very mysterious subject. Honestly, and please, I appreciate your patience, and
Yeah.
if I wasn't of such limited means, I would drop another, but I have to go around my wife to sneak money into this forum. What I'm saying to you is simply this.
Go ahead.
If I completely accept everything that you've said, because I've listened to your videos backwards and forwards and in between. And I'm not trying to be a pain.
No, you're not.
To understand this.
You're
I'm
not.
telling you valuable stuff.
You're not. Get to it.
At the end, right? Again, we're trying to keep on science. Is God a good hypothesis?
No, you're off topic again. No.
Please.
No.
I'm not putting
not a hypothesis. Why did you immediately go to God then? What is going on here?
Do I have to play? This is your own video, QE.
You don't have to play it over to me. I know I made it.
Yeah, I'm saying I'm not going there. You went there before me.
Yes. So how can matter exist without a knower? That's the question.
Yes, but that goes back to, and I asked you this question before, collapse of the wave function equals matter.
Right. Can I just have this one? Because this is what I wanted to jump in on.
But please, honestly, I'm gonna let you, and you're being patient, and I'm trying to be patient too.
That's very kind. So here we go then. Right.
Yes.
So you keep talking about this wave function. Okay. Now, how do we define the wave? It's the image on the back of the plate and their frequency. So if instead of firing a quadrillion, I only fire 20. Is there a wave function there to observe? Or is there just 20? No. 1 or 2. Is there a wave function? 1. 2, just 20 random hits on the screen.
I would say to that question, yes, there is a wave function.
No, it's 1 or 2. 1. It's a wave function. How are you defining this wave function from 20 random bits? 9 of them are virtually in the same place.
Well, listen, that is a part of my question too.
So let's just stick with that. So is there a wave function there then? At this point, you fired 20 photons. 9 of them are in one place. 3 of them are over on one side, 1 on the other. And then a few others to make the total up. Is there a wave function there that you can observe?
My science and technology acumen in this sphere would make my answer almost irrelevant because I don't know how to answer that. I just know.
Okay. The answer is no. There's no data there to build an imaginary wave function from it. Okay. The next question I'm going to ask you: how much data do you require to build an imaginary wave function before it can collapse?
But that's what I'm saying. Even using that word imaginary, to me, doesn't belong in this discussion.
So this is the
Do you understand that?
sarcasm. No, I think you've missed the sarcasm or the irony in the question. How much data does it require to build your wave function before you can allow it to collapse?
But it's not something that's being built. That is the point here. These are
Something
just
that's being
mathematical.
imagined,
Yeah, but a concept. When we use the word concept,
conceptualized. Exactly. From
yes,
the data, you conceptualize a wave function. Correct. Is there a wave function, or have you just conceptualized it from the data?
please. This is the
Answer
big
the question, dude. Don't say please. To progress, you need to answer that yourself, don't you? Is there a wave function, or have you just, as you've admitted, conceptualized a wave function from the data?
I would have to fall back to Freeman Dyson.
Why? Who's he?
I just read Freeman Dyson.
Why is his opinion worth anything between what you've understood and said
Because-
and how you understand it? Why does his opinion mean anything? What's your opinion? You must have one.
I don't. I'm trying to learn
Why
here.
fall back to a priest? It doesn't matter where you're sitting. It doesn't matter which answer you give, but it needs to be your answer, not somebody else's.
Oh, but Brian, I am so.
Adam.
Adam, sorry, my bad. Oh, I keep doing
All right,
that.
bro.
So-
That's all right. You sure it's not a problem there? Carry on, Hitch.
He's still
just-
plumb.
Uh,
I wish there was somebody else listening who could sympathize with me from this.
me and you
this-
talking, bro.
Understand what I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying. I can play Nathan this morning on his show. They're critiquing Brian, what's his name? And Nathan, in fact, let me find it, because I had to record it because I said, wait a minute, what am I hearing?
Words?
Is Nathan a priest now?
We can't hear it, Humble H.
Just say what. Just narrate what he said. Just say it, H.
Humble
Okay.
H.
He's talking about concepts, right? About concepts. Are concepts a part of the pure natural science
No.
that we try to protect in
No.
FED?
No. No.
And so
That's what I was trying to
when-
explain to you before. The wave function is a pure description. It's a concept, right?
That's right.
What was
So-
the misunderstanding with the double slit experiment? The simple explanation that I gave. Was there any problem with that?
the experiment took place. I am not. If you understood how much I've gone over this, I would just like to know that if this, when this thing is described, whatever it is, when it's described as a wave function, and it's supposed to do something, it's supposed to collapse. If that is math, I am not sure how I can fit it into natural science.
It's
And
not
that's bottom line.
you're repeating the same thing over and over again. It's just the way to describe. There's nothing collapsing in physical because the wave function's not physical, right? So it's just the way to verbalize it. I can remember somebody saying, whether it was Heisenberg or Schrodinger himself, that said it's so frustrating discussing quantum mechanics because we don't have the language to properly describe it. He actually, that's a citation. I got it somewhere, right? That's what we're falling into right here. And we have the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable. Let's just get down to the actual experiments, which are natural science, right? You follow that?
Right. Now, so would it be fair for me to then say that we're getting into philosophy when we start using this sort of language that doesn't describe something physical?
Define philosophy.
The love of knowledge, but in this case, the way that we use it in these discussions is we've moved away from pure natural science, and then we start putting meaning to it.
No. Yeah, you have to put meaning to it because it's simple deduction. It's simple logic. If you follow that logic out of the double slit experiment, that the only way to get a particle pattern, if I fire stuff, through a double slit and it's not giving me a histogram, it's giving me 2 dots or 2 lines behind what I'm firing through, then yeah, there's downstream consequences as to what caused it. Once you figure out what caused that, then that has logical ramifications, simple deductions downstream, and it comes all down to information. Follow? So where does information come from and who recognizes it?
Okay, so I'm going to follow you through to the logical conclusion then that, dare I use the term, the collapse of the wave function has some connection to knowledge.
Information. No. You can use that. That's fine.
No.
Okay.
What are you saying no for, Adam? Stay out. No, it's not no. He's just using the collapse.
There is a no. There is. This is his sticking point. He thinks a wave function's collapsing. It's not. Whatever reason, the knowledge means there's a defined path. The wave function in of itself isn't anything to do with anything. It's just a way of describing the hits on the backplate.
True.
That's not the phenomena that's occurring here. That wave function collapsing. Ignore it. It's a distraction.
Is that what the problem is? I'm just going along with I'm just moving along with the language. Hold up, homeboy. Just God, this is tedious.
You're explaining it when it's not that. I'm not hearing that as the issue, QE. That's why I was interrupting.
Okay.
I'm not hearing that as H's issue. He keeps referring. Neil,
I'm not
castigating. We're just trying to explain, Neil.
I'm not making up the language myself, please. I am not making up the language.
Yeah, we already know that.
I appreciate that. I'm just asking you by now that there's no need to keep going back to that language, so we have to re-clarify it. It's not beneficial. If you're still thinking of it in that conceptual term, that's what we say, you've got to get past that, because you recognize that's not the event.
Oh, he'll be on tomorrow asking Nathan.
It's not the phenomena that we're discussing. Yeah, a distribution pattern in data is not a phenomenon. It's not. What we're observing is it's the change in the pattern on the back, whether or not we know the which path mechanism. Focus on that. That's your science. That's your cause and effect.
Right, but once we get to that point, right, this language is used for some reason.
It's a descriptor. It's just a descriptor. It's describing a concept. It doesn't have physical reality.
That's right. So if you're telling me the physical reality is on the plate, now you're telling me the physical reality isn't on the plate?
No, I'm not. What?
You saying?
No, please don't say it again. That was fucking rhetorical. My God. I can't go any further with this. I'm
Okay.
sorry, I can't. It's just I've already explained it to you quite a number of times, and so has Adam. I can't go any further with it.
Okay. So then,
I'm Nathan.
to use the term, right?
What
that
term?
The collapse of the wave
That's
function.
a phrase, not a term.
Yes, a phrase. To use the phrase, we should or we should not use it.
You can use it because that's how we communicate with each other. That's the communication in the literature. But there is no physical wave.
Right.
That doesn't.
So if
it's-
something is not physical, I'm not saying something, you're saying something is not physical.
No, I'm saying the wave function's not physical, not the actual thing that you're hitting the detector with. That's physical.
We've already agreed it was conceptual based on a probability distribution. Why are we trying to go back to ascertaining whether it's physical or not? We've passed this point, haven't we?
I don't know. I'm not getting it.
I don't know.
Okay, maybe I have to do some more reading because
I think so.
yeah, maybe if I can just address Neil. See, again, I've watched QE's video on this, and if you're telling me, I hope nobody's telling me to totally disregard that because it
no.
is something that's there. Okay.
Yeah, there's something there.
Saying that. When did I say that?
No, please, I'm not. Please, Neil.
Listen, I'm out of here. Goodbye.
Okay. Boy, see. Okay, I don't want to frustrate anybody or drive them to distractions. But if Neil
that was just as Neil demonstrated, just insulting. I think he was offended that you drew his name in to continue this.
No, I wanted to say something to him that sincerely. I hope.
I think his point of offence was that you misquoted him.
I didn't think I was quoting him to begin with, but I'm sorry and I'd apologize. What I'm saying is I wanted to explain to him why this is such an important issue to me, because I see a connection here between what we think of or speak of as natural science that comes out at the other end, providing a scientific explanation for the existence of God.
I think a lot of us are a lot further down that line in you, and as you have admitted this evening, and the conversation's shown, you've got a lot more learning to understand based on your questions this evening. I think you need to work on those before you go to that much more ultimate question. Just grasp these, because if you do grasp it, and I don't think you are grasping it, and I'm not being patronising, but if you do grasp this, then that more profound question that you're alluding to, I think you'll have a much more firmer foundation on to tackle it with.
Is he having a problem with conflating descriptive concepts with actual physical reality?
I think partially that's the issue.
No,
yeah.
I think at the end, after I've listened to it all, that it seems to me that God becomes a hypothesis.
No.
Wow.
No.
No?
Okay.
No.
Okay. So because here's
Because
what
here's what you just said. Here's what you just said. That
Go ahead.
there is a cause and effect relation. There's a cause for God. That's what you just said.
No.
Yeah.
That God is the cause of something.
No. You said the God hypothesis. That means that you must have the cause of God. That's what it actually says. That's how ridiculous it is.
Okay, let me rephrase it then. That the collapse of something, right, comes about because of knowledge.
Information. Matter
information.
exists. Matter exists as a result of information. So the question then becomes, where did the first matter come from?
Right. Very true. But the fact that that is said, can never be a state of a lack of matter.
What? You lost me.
If we have, and again, I don't know why it seems wrong for me now to use this term, the collapse of the wave function. But if God has always existed, there cannot be a lack of there will always be a collapse of a wave function.
Nope. Doesn't have to be. Why?
Because he's never lacks knowledge. He never lacks the information of which Slit.
No, right. Okay. So H, do you think then that the reason the wave collapsed was that God didn't know which slit it was going through in the first double slit before we had? That seems to be what you're claiming. Now, God sits outside of his creation. The rules are for his creation, not for him.
Exactly. Wow, did you hear that, Humble H? Say that again, Adam.
You can't do that twice. That came from the soul.
Yeah, that was very well said, by the way.
But there is an attachment between God that's outside of the system with the material that came into existence, right?
In your mind. I don't know in some people's conceptualization, that could be true. That might be helpful for you to get through life. Good on you, if that's how you think. Don't portray it as fact. Don't be so egotistical. Understand creation. Understand what you are and where you sit in this creation, and be grateful for it.
So how would you explain the first material coming into existence without that process I mentioned?
Need to. My ego does not require it.
QE, would you be on that same page?
No. No.
My address my response. My ego does not require it.
You have baffled me, Adam, and I get that. Because I think we're coming at this from slightly different standpoints.
It's about humility, Humble H.
You're
it's
thinking
about humility.
So you're saying
you appear to have none in the sight of God. You, yeah. Respect your boundaries. Look at the things you're asking. Why are you asking them? Why?
Please.
What purpose?
I'm only saying this because of things I learned in this forum.
But if you've learned it, you'll understand your boundaries. That's my point with you. Yeah. If you have learned it, if you do understand it, you'll understand your boundaries.
And again, that's a philosophical sort of understanding.
No, that's a factual statement.
But so what if
the understanding? So if you do understand it, you understand your limitations. That's not philosophical.
If I said to you, I have a religious belief that God was behind the first material thing created, you would call that a lack of humility?
No, I would say that's probably logically the conclusion you could come to. I would ask you why you feel the need to pursue that point, given that you're safe in the knowledge you have a creator that works in a majesty you can never comprehend. Why you would pursue down a route of ego to try and think you're going to comprehend it?
Well, again, maybe the mechanics of how it happened or the details, but I believe that he sent someone that explained him to us, that made him understandable. and the fact that he helps us to understand that we do have a creator. I don't think it's egotistical to acknowledge that fact.
I don't think that Christ was sent so that I could understand scientifically why the path mechanism is defined if I'm observing it. I don't think that was the purpose. I think the purpose of getting to this level of knowledge is to recognize the majesty of creation. And at that point, recognize and be humble and where you sit in it. And then focus on what God wants you to focus on, not the unachievable. It's not where he wants your time or your effort.
So, well, I'm telling you that this forum is what's brought me to this point of curiosity on this level. And I don't know if you understand, or sorry, I got to watch my language now. Yes, this is not stuff I would have been asking before I came in touch with FED, right? But we're in a place now where we're trying to understand a part of God's creation that we have been lied to about. Okay? And a big part of that is what I've come to appreciate, the truth behind a word that I was deceived about for a long time, which is natural science. And in that process, I have learned about a process that kept that field of study honest, as opposed to one that brought in things that were dishonest to the true sense of what science should be. In that discussion, I heard certain words, such as concepts, such as math, that when other people use it to justify the reliance of their natural science, has been criticized. On this forum, if somebody brought in the word concepts or math, and I would go back to a very prominent person on the program that we listen to in the mornings called 10th Man, he made a video deriding the introduction of mathematics into the scientific process. At this point,
You mean 10th Man who brought the concept of celestial navigation?
I'm sorry?
In the forefront.
Say again, please.
I mean that 10th Man that brought the concept of celestial navigation to the forefront of flat Earth debate?
No, he made a video about mathematics in science.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
Well, just summarize the claim that you have an objection to.
Oh no, I am quite in support of the things he said. He had citations and everything showing that when mathematics comes into the process, it is no longer natural science.
Whoa! You're kind of mixed up.
Oh.
You're kind of mixed up because natural science, they deal with two different things. Natural science deals with cause and effect, how-why explanations, whereas mathematics deals with descriptions of the what's and the is's.
I completely agree with you.
So
where's the issue?
So where's the it? Yeah, exactly.
Again, maybe it's not an issue for you gentlemen, but again, I don't see, and please, I did not put this stuff in here. If I have to make the recordings to play for you, where I've heard, right, that the collapse, it's not my language, I'm stressing that again, that the collapse of something is equal to something else, which is equal to something else. Please.
Right. So
You have to understand,
we're now at the
here's
point
the-
where we're mitigating with stuff we can't cite that you may or may not have heard, and even if you heard it correctly, a misrepresentation of the long-winded thing we've been through tonight, which is to correct your understanding of the wave function and its conceptualized collapse. Yeah. We're past that, aren't we? Because surely you've understood if we're describing it in those terms. But if we need to go, which is useful sometimes, if we need to go to the nuances of what's actually happening, then we can do. But in a grown-up conversation, if Nathan said, and the wave function collapses, we kind of understand, because of the conversation we've had tonight, what we're all talking about. We're all on the similar page. We understand it's a concept, never was there. Is that where we're at, H? Because that seems to be the number of what it feels like a complaint almost. That you're complaining that some of the Flat Earth debate members have said things in a way that you're struggling to comprehend. And if that's the case, I'll bring you back. It's your opinion that matters, bruv, not anyone else's.
Yeah, thank you. I'm trying to form an opinion. I am trying to form an opinion.
You've always got an opinion. That opinion can be changed, but you have to have an opinion now. You can't be opinionless.
I'm trying to develop an opinion.
You sound like you're trying to change an opinion.
Yeah, but I may have something wrong in my idea of what's going on. I'm just saying that I'm not sure if I took this term, wave function, and the collapse of wave function out of a sentence, out of the discussion altogether, what I would be left with in an understanding, a conclusion being drawn by the quantum eraser double slit experiment.
Would the photographic plates and the two different patterns they present within that experiment, would they change?
Maybe that's what I need to look into. Maybe that's the thing I need to look into. What is because when someone says that something is invented, right? And then I see that it's a description of something that is not physical, because it's itself as a description is not describing something physical. When I hear you talk about plates, I am thinking of something physical, but is a description of what's happening on the plate. Again, please, I don't want to frustrate you anymore. I'm going to stop here because I sense, I may be just destroying your show, but
No, I'm not. I wasn't.
You're not destroying it. You don't destroy it, but I think we've got to the point where you're repeating yourself in your misunderstanding.
Yes.
I think that's crucial, that you need to go and just focus on what's physical. Pattern's physical. It's a pattern. Okay.
Can I ask you this then? Maybe this can help me.
I think. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. I think. Hold on a second. Hold on. AI, did you have something to say? Because he was the one that sighed. Go ahead, AI.
Just curious, like we had this conversation before, and I encourage everyone to go and watch the alleged first example of this, where the guy did it with a box, a hole in the box, and sunlight coming through the box, and he got the pattern, right, which was an apparent interference pattern based on the idea of the waves. And so the common example that's used is to demonstrate in water, right, an interference patterns of waves, and then say, look, it's similar pattern. And that's part of the place where people came up with the idea that light is a wave, because they heard that explanation. Then they heard the wave function collapse. They're like, oh, now I heard the wave twice. And a lot of people in this community have a problem with light being a wave or a particle or both. And they're trying to get to a conclusion based on their predisposition of which they prefer. And this labored out questions is because they have in their mind many.
Your mic cut out, AI. That's frustrating. That's helping us.
Just getting to a really good conclusion.
Yeah, right. And his mic cuts out.
I'll second that.
Yeah.
Is all I'll say. Yeah.
AI, are you back with us? Radio check. Just hold on, Humble H. I think AI has a very good point coming. Okay, he dropped out. He's going to probably pop back in again. Just give him a second. Is he going to leave forever, Adam?
He's back. He's back.
Okay.
You're back, Overlord.
Okay. AI, go ahead.
So I don't remember exactly where I cut off, but the point I was making is that based on people's predisposition, they would try to ask a questioning.
Yeah, hold on a second. You stopped at Veritasium looking in his box.
Oh, man, that was a long time ago. Crap. Well, the point is with that is he was just duplicating the alleged initial time when this was discovered, like the very first diffraction experiment or whatever it's named. And it showed what appeared to be, well, it showed a pattern. But one of the interpretations of that pattern is wave interference. And you could demonstrate a similar pattern of wave interference, whether it's constructive or destructive, with water, where you could send out ripples, and then you can send out other ripples and they'll cancel each other out depending on the peaks and the valleys. And so because that can create a similar pattern, that gives people the ideas, oh, light is a wave. But then there's other places where there's particle behavior. So they say, oh, well, light is a particle. Then there's other people that say, oh, it's a duality of the two. Then you have the wave function, right? Which is, now you've heard the term wave twice in your life concerning light. So now you're really confused because you're like, wait a minute, is this a wave? Is it a particle? But people have, in this community, as we've seen, predispositions about what light is. And they have questions that try to lead towards a conclusion that they already have a bias towards, rather than just accept it as it is. So I'm not necessarily saying Mr. Humble is guilty of this, but anybody who hasn't yet needs to go and watch that initial thing. They need to watch a diffraction pattern being created, and then they need to watch the discrete pattern being created. They're concrete results. There's no arguing with them.
Okay, can I just talk, man?
Yeah, good.
So we have something that we can observe with our eyes. What part then, why do we even need a wave function equation?
Describe it mathematically if you so chose to do so. As for any of the implications, as beautifully outlined by Overlord, yeah, it's not necessary for you to reach the conclusion, yeah, that's in front of you. It's a moot point.
So we
I actually have one. I have one where a guy did recently where he did it with a live microscope, and he shot the light packets. He describes how he created them, everything, and you can watch them placed, and you'll see that they follow an interesting pattern of distribution. They're not, it's almost like a machine gun going off. Like you don't know exactly where the bullets are going to hit, but you can chart that out mathematically with a probability. So you could apply this type of math, or or interpretations to machine gun bullets if you wanted to. You could, I mean, you could apply it to anything that follows a similar pattern distribution. It's just a mathematical construct to help you understand the distribution.
Yeah, I think the wave function collapse verbiage is causing them a lot of problems when it's just a concept. It's a descriptive concept, and I don't know how you're disconnecting that or connecting it with it being not science. It wasn't science in the first place. That's what. Yeah, you follow that?
Sorry, what wasn't science in the first place?
The description of it.
Okay. So up until the point that we're just dealing with the plates and what's going on.
No,
the
description, the wave function collapse. That is a description. In and of itself, it's not science because it's a description. The scientific method was created to adjudicate cause and effect explanations. So you're in a category. It's connected because it's part of the overall concept. However, that specific part alone in a vacuum it's just a description. There's no science to it. Follow?
And we can actually observe with our eyes not just the image on the screen, but the collapse.
No.
If the hypothesis was
Okay, no, please,
if
just
the witch path mechanism
that's
is
a
known,
very important question.
Yeah,
The
I just want to
Hold on, humble H. Hold on. Go ahead, Adam.
to reword the hypothesis for you. So maybe we can take this wave function out. If the witch path is known, then the pretty lines pattern will disappear. If we take all of that pseudo-intellectual bit out of it and we just deal with the cause and the effect, yeah, you understand what the science is now, what the bit that we're sciencing is. Forget all the ways of describing it.
I think that my answer to that is based on, can we with our eyes see the collapse?
There is nothing to collapse. You understand that is not it's not the phenomena.
Okay, but
It doesn't matter how you conceptualize the pattern, it changes.
But please, the math tells us that there is something called a collapse.
The math doesn't tell you anything. You've set the maths up to describe something on your behalf.
So what? So there's no collapse taking place.
We're not having maths. There's no maths. We've got shapes, patterns on the wall.
No, but collapse is a word in this whole thing.
It's a word you're desperately clinging on to for some reason.
I'm not clinging on to it. I'm asking,
is
it part of something to do with this? Because if it's not, and I'm listening to people speak and they're using it, I'm not sure why there should be a problem with me asking about the word. Is it being used or
it's
isn't
not
it?
a problem. Look, the problem is that collapse has connotations of physical structures changing their shape. Okay, so on the one hand, it's a mathematical construct. On the other hand, you have a word that in common language has to do with structure. So you have a conflict there in your mind because you're seeing a structure in three-dimensional space, but you're talking about a mathematical construct in abstract space that can be graphed so you can see it. So it's not collapsing in the sense of a physical structure. It's collapsing in the sense that you have a period of lines, right, that go up and down, up and down, up and down to create a waveform. Now, when that waveform of probability ceases, you then just have, let's just say, for lack of a better term, a straight line. So in the moment that it occurs, you would go from a waveform up and down, up and down, up and down, like on a TV screen. And then all of a sudden you see a line, just like an EKG. When somebody dies, they flatline. You could call that the EKG collapse if you wanted to.
Okay, that's probably okay, because I didn't. This is where it was a question. I never thought that there would be some visual representation of the collapse that I could actually see, just like I could see dots on a film. So you're saying that the collapse can be printed out on film?
Well, look, have you ever played Battleship?
No, please. That doesn't have a yes or
Oh
no
my
answer.
goodness, dude.
Oh, sorry. I'm okay.
Dude, you sound worse than somebody begging for change.
I expect to be embarrassed here, and I'm being totally embarrassed. But to me, I thought you were saying that if I'm watching an EKG machine, I can see what you're talking about, right? Can I?
Yeah, when the person dies, the
yeah.
EKG machine, listen, when the person dies, the EKG machine doesn't have an up and down wave anymore. It has a flat line. Because the information is the same. It's constant, dead.
Thank you. Thank you. So I'm saying if there were an EKG machine to help me to see
isn't.
Sorry?
There isn't.
There isn't.
There's no wave, there's no EKG machines, there's none of this that's going to help you cling on to the conceptualization of light behaving like a wave.
Is there any visual material thing that you can point me to that tells me a collapse has taken place?
Is the two plates. No, not a collapse, because collapse is the word you're lingering to stick with a wave, as if some wave has collapsed. There is no wave.
But on an EKG machine, there is a representation of a wave.
Not bringing anybody
there
back
isn't.
from the dead.
No. The graphical display is an up and down zigzag, or you could say wave motion. But the information is just a heartbeat. Boop, 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 boop. It's just graphed. Your heart isn't waving. It's just beating every so often.
Boy, okay.
When I shoot a machine gun, listen, when I do burst fire on a machine gun, okay, is the machine gun waving? No. It's shooting a different amount of bullets each time I pull the trigger. One time it shoots a burst of 5. The next time it shoots a burst of 6. The next time it shoots a burst of 7, and so on and so forth. And if you chart that on a graph, you'll see an up and down motion. But nothing's waving.
But I don't need to see anything else because I have your machine gun doing something. And I can hear it. Please, this is what I'm...
Man, we're gonna have to wrap it up. Listen what I'm telling you. We're gonna have to wrap it up right now.
Yes.
Okay.
I just have to say thanks.
Yeah.
Because, yeah. Okay.
Not a problem. You can always come back and ask the questions again. That's fine. I'm not trying to dissuade you from doing that, but it's time to go. The snow's flying, and I've got some things I got to do. Betty, we have a super chat. Did Betty collapse?
I'm picking myself back up again.
You got a super chat. Let's go and close us out.
Betty fell asleep at the coffee maker.
What?
Betty fell asleep at the coffee maker. She was making coffee about 35, 40 minutes.
What are you doing over there?
I didn't want to interference pattern. Yeah, I got a super chat. Asked that anything. It said, "Oh, the depth of the riches of both of the wisdom and the knowledge of God. How unsearchable are his judgments and his ways past finding out." Romans 11:33.
Nice.
Yep. Always good to end with a scripture.
Yeah, it was good.
Unless it's me, and then you get ridiculed and muted for it.
We knew that was coming. That's called a setup from Betty.
Yes, I set you up, Adam. I knew you would do this.
All right. Listen, I got to rock. The snow's flying. I've got vehicles. I've got kids, a kid at school, and we got to get this squared away. So, keep an eye out for one of the treatments. I don't know when I'm going to do it this week. I don't know what day, but keep a weathered eye raised. It's going to be the other half of cream of wheat. So, listen, everyone, hang in there. If you're under a snowstorm tonight, good luck. I love snow. And I hope you do too. And if you don't, then you're going to be an unhappy camper if you're in its wake. But it's really pretty out there now. And we're going to end it. So have a good one. Hope you got a lot out of this. There was multiple topics discussed. We went from Benny Hill to quantum mechanics to the deeper things, the mysteries in quantum mechanics. So, you just don't know what you're going to get here. It's like a box of chocolates. So hang in there, and QE out.